this matchup, it's not bad lane for DK, but it's also not, it's not a lane where DK will just crush it, theoretically. There is still a lot of leeway for a TA to kind of weave in and out of that lane, try to hit level 3, get a couple of melds out, still manage the lane, and just kind of draw even, at the very least.
Okay, we'll see how it goes. So, what is the plan for Mongolz? Wait for level 6. Mostly wait for level 6 on the AA. Is that they can then just try a long laning stage until then?
I think the real key is, honestly, probably DK6 more than anything. I think if you have this foundation of the first Elder Dragon form, and you can kind of collapse onto mid, force an issue on TA, you do, again, have some good reach for some stuns out, right? Like, you've got the support Shaker, you can block off the mid. You've got the AA, who can apply some presence out with a Vortex and the Cold Feet. That can make it really annoying for anyone to have to try to play into this DK6 timing. I think that's probably the easiest way to kind of get that done. We do have connection issues. PLDC, says Mac. This is why you switch ISPs, guys. You can't keep complaining about the same. I switched ISPs. I had enough of them. You know? It's like, switch your ISP. Stop sticking to the one that sucks. Look for what's good in your area and stick to that. Because there's no point. They will never fix themselves, guys. There's no fixing them. They're like,
Okay, so we had so listen, I have a story when provider fixed themselves and became the best one day by somebody, so now they're not as good, but anyways, so they always lagging, they was always breaking, it starts raining, their internet goes to crap, and they were the ones in back a long time who got fiber because of that. And then they got fiber everywhere. Did everybody's download and upload the same? Back in the day, that was, I think even nowadays, you would need to want a specific package to get out from anybody else. And that's once. And as I mentioned later on, bought by a provider that I'm using right now, which is solid, but definitely not as good. So, you know, people do get better, John. You have to believe.
Country, so they're never going to get better. They have no incentive to get better. They just get their paycheck, and they're happy, they cash it in. You know, just look for something else. That's my 2 cents. I do get your point, though. If you're down to like this local carrier that care for their community, that eventually get access to new tech, yeah, these guys never do. I've lived for so long. You know how ancient I am, how crusty I am. They have not changed. You know what their fiber was? It was copper, not copper to the fiber, like, point. You still had copper in that last mile connection. It was awful. And they had the gall to advertise that as fiber. They still do. They still call that fiber. It's terrible. Don't fall for their lies.
Anyways, Mongolz are in a smoke. Bob will be getting a ward out. Not going to be spotted by that one, so that is going to be a nice ward for him. Scouting out the runes, scouting out potential rotations from the top lane. You know, you mentioned the DKTA matchup, but it's actually gonna be a DK versus a Tiny, which actually does do well for the DK, apart from the potential to get tossed back. But generally, a zero armor hero versus a corrosive Dragonite is gonna have an issue.
Yeah, should be relatively fine, and again, should be somewhat manageable for Mac overall. Unless Bob just completely oversteps, which, you know, talking about Bob being an explosive player, sometimes he can feel himself in lane. For the most part, he doesn't, unless he has very good reason to feel himself, so I don't expect him to make any major mistakes. We shall see. Should be able to hold this lane overall. Down bot, you're seeing a decent enough block. Lots of creeps already under tower from the side of the Mongolz, so you're going to have it nicely shoved out here for Raven to manage. And this is probably the slower lane for the Mongolz, right? Like, you've got a Shaker support. It really doesn't do much in terms of trying to play around with JG either. At least until maybe level 2, level 3 really is when it starts to be a little bit comfier. You might have to just sit back, try to soak up here on JG just a little bit more. At the least every single time. You know, Raven isn't the longest range hero without the side blades up. So you can kind of poke back with the Infernal Blade. but it should be relatively smooth sailing for Raven. Like, there isn't much presence here from JG and DJ until levels do start to pour in, and that can be a slower process. There is some decent camp access at the least. You can get yourself a nifty Purge creep or a mana burn creep down the line. That can help manage that lane a little bit better. Let's see if that access is provided for, as they do manage to get pull off in this lane.
We're gonna be looking at the top lane a bit. This is a dangerous one. I'd say for both of the sides. Terrorblade and Muerta have kill potential most definitely onto the AA, maybe even onto the Gyro, and then Gyro AA. Imagine the amount of damage that these two can do together. And if you're not careful as a Terrorblade, you might have a lot of armor, but your HP kind of sucks. So they can take you out. So how do you reckon that this lane is gonna end? Who's gonna come out on top?
I feel like this is a lot easier for the side of the Mongolz, as you can see. Just get the Rocket Barrage going, get a little bit of Ice Vortex, and just like that, that HP issue for
and a
DP
bonus
does show up. Ooh. Okay.
Yeah. Bye-bye. And look at that wave underneath the tower. This is gonna be a big deal, especially because one of the range creeps just got denied. There's gonna be another creep as well. Maybe even a full-on wave. Let's say goodbye to that.
That's a lot of EXP that's just going to keep hurting here. Going to lead to a slightly faster level 3 for OMQ, level 2 Rocket Barrage. Again, that basic combination. Ice Vortex down, Rocket Barrage on top. You've got the Bone Chill facet as well, so less strength, more squishy, more kills. That can line up here for the Mongolz. And again, they get themselves some nice Lotus control on top of everything else. It's not going to be smooth sailing for the side of Essence. Again, the threat back with Reflection and Meta is great whenever Meta's up, but when it's down, you're a sitting duck here for Cox. You do have to watch yourself. Only so much IHEAD can do to dissuade them from jumping you here.
Meanwhile, mid lane, a bit of a currently advantage for a Dragon Knight. Not too much. Okay, that is a mistake from Mac. He's gonna be taking a lot of a beating there from the tower. And with 0 armor, you really don't want to be stunned underneath the tower. So a bit of a mistake, but still kind of fine.
Yep. Balancing the lane fine enough, as we do get a pause from Mac. Hopefully sorted out soon enough. No one's disconnected, so, you know, no need to rant about the ice piece this time. Get the go-ahead. Good old Mac. There, I will be honest. I have a friend who does stay in like the same city as Mac does, and they are playing remotely. The connection there is absolutely terrible. I do not know why. It's been consistently bad every time, especially around this time. It can be like hit or miss.
Probably old cables that tends to happen. Hopefully, because you said that they're a rich company, they will change them. So
oh yeah, they will. for our children, for our grandchildren down the line there. That's how soon it will be, I'm sure. That's what it is.
Ancient. That's gonna be fairly soon. As Cox gets pushed back there, Castaway standing his ground. MQ needs to be a bit careful about going forward. I mean, this Terrorblade is no joke when it comes to damage output.
Yeah, he really does need to respect that metamorphosis whenever it's up. It is on cooldown now. So if you can maybe make another connection with Castaway, just drop Ice Vortex, get a single Chilling Touch off, get that Bone Chill going, Rocket Barrage him down. Can still be a simple process for OMQ, especially since he does have the boots up to keep that chase down going. Have to be very well aware on Cox that there's some good damage to fly in. They do manage to get some decent pulls out as well to hold this lane back a little bit more. That can just give a little bit more for OMQ to play with at the least in terms of clearing out. Overall, with the 2 kills under the belt for the Mongolz, it is looking pretty sharp. The lanes are all looking pretty damn good as well. JG kind of drawing even with Raven, which is the ideal here for the Doom, as you are just going to be out farming anyhow with Devour now up and running. You are getting very stable time for OMQ with all those kills and some really great lane management coming out from Castaway. The blocks just constantly getting de-warded off. And again, you've got that stable mid foundation for Bob, who is slowly set to approach at level 6. We'll have that for his dragon form. You can start to consider the threat onto the objective or the threat for a kill. There are some good wards to watch in deep rotation, say from the Shaker, from the bot. Oh, popped up.
Castaway, just enough damage, but this just means that DownQ can go forward. There's gonna be 1 kill Cox. I don't know if he does have enough moves to get away. There will be a stun from the center. Now now he can only hope that he survives, and he will. Goes for a TP out. Very nice recognition of what he needs to do. But however, again, this does mean that TamQ will be all alone in this lane.
On mid, Mac.
Blood Grenade connected. They're getting the body blocks. He's gonna have an avalanche in a second, so that's gonna make an opening for them. I mean, beautiful dead shot onto the both of them. And with the shackles cast away, what are you gonna do to stop this? He did use the cold feet onto Mac, who doesn't care, just gets another toss, and that attempt on Mac's life propels his game to a beautiful position to be in.
Yeah, equalizes the game entirely. And they didn't quite have any mana on Bob, so couldn't really spam out the spells the way he'd want to try to drop that Tiny down. And the punishment is pretty damn clean from the side of Essence. That kind of boils down to having Aya die too, right? Like he's in position to just TP onto mid, fully reset. The timing lines up there for the side of Essence, and it all pays off. So,
JG, MQ with his rotation, he's looking to get a revenge. Vanya might die first round with the shackles and will die either way. Now Raven is next in the mid. That was a beautiful vision from DJ coming down just in time. No melt, but he does have the refractions that you go through immediately. But now rotation from Mac. One more slap. Raven is somehow still alive, and he will go for the melt, which will allow him to live. With the melt strike, he's the one who brings down DJ, and MQ, he is happy to be alive.
that he is not so happy to miss out on this kill onto Raven, trying to slow down this TA just a tad bit. And you can see some of the shortcomings of just not having a high-powered enchant. The fissure is nice, having a little bit more uptime on it is pretty great, but you don't have that output to really melt heroes with a rotation out. And Raven just living through is a huge boon. Again, we were talking about the timings coming out in this TA. Already has the power treads. It's, you know, it's not the quickest TA game we've seen in the world, but the timing into the Dragonlance, eventually into that Deso, is lining up for smooth sailing here, allowing the side of Essence to kind of consider these power spikes into, say, first Tormentor, into maybe a team fight into Roshan as well. And that is the key point of that TA. It's very high tempo, and so far, you haven't really stopped that from JG. He does have his Doom ready. He can get the connection out. Although
that is a nice fissure. Ponyo has nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. Maybe hope that he can walk into the Roche Pit in the knife side. Let's see if that's gonna work. Oh, he dodged him! And the Roche Bash! No way! No freaking way! Bob gets outplayed insanely well there. Also, beautiful dead shot. Essence, they've started playing out of their minds here. Just one opening was made, and now they're just running down Mongolz over and over again. Castaway will be next in the menu with the meta going strong. He's most definitely going to die. Another beautiful dead shot, and that is a level 6 Muerta before 9 minutes of the game.
it's a crazy, crazy progression coming out from Essence. And for the side of the Mongols, just a little bit scattered, right? Like, Bob walks into the Roche Pit, right-clicks Roshan instead of instantly flipping up, and he doesn't see anything. And just missing that opportunity, which again provides these openings for Essence to play elsewhere, is a pretty massive mistake. It's 7-4, less than 1k lead for Essence, so it's not the end of the world, but that tempo is kicking into gear here for Essence. We're starting to pull ahead on Raven. Cox is a well past recovery, still looking for more. Castaway again.
Ooh, that's not something you should allow yourself to happen. He came there because he's hoping to get that level 6, but now dying twice, it's going to be a long time before he can get the experience needed.
That's just going to hold him back. That Ice Blast is fundamental in finding some openings. He does have Doom ready on JG. This defense is shaping up. No meta to worry about on Cox. Inside of Essence will at least play it safe with no mana as well on Mac, although he does have the Soul Ring and the shovel to dig up some water for his bottle. You get the pause out again, as Cox is still experiencing intermittent internet, but it hasn't held him back from this gameplay whatsoever in Essence. And again, there were questions as to how well they could fit Raven in, how well could he adjust their playstyle. It doesn't seem like there are any issues. They managed to save Raven, given the space he needs to farm. Dragonlance up, even has himself a nice tasty Orb of Destruction into the Desolator timing, which shouldn't be too far off considering there's no one to contest him in lane. And you've got a lot of timing issues to worry about inside of Mongolz, right? Like, this Blink Dagger for DJ, miles away. You're not going to be farming that fast, with Fissure being prioritized, of course, over Enchant Totem. So clearing out camps, clearing out creep waves, not going to be as quick for the Shaker. That level 6 on Castaway, eventually he'll find it. And maybe at that point you can start to play with the Ice Blast setup, try to play off the back of Bob, who's still working into his own first major item with the Blink. Again, just lagging a little bit behind considering all of these missed opportunities and these pickoffs that the side of Essence have been finding for themselves. Once something like the pipe comes out for Cox, I worry that you might not have enough to kill off these heroes any longer. Like, unless you commit the Doom out.
Oh, now Essence are having that internet problem, and that is a bummer, right? 'Cause, already one of your players is missing, and right now you're not gonna be able to change somebody mid series. It's coming. We're not gonna give our time. Okay. I have a question. How do you feel about your countrymen invading the Mongols and now they're not being a single Mongolian player on this team?
You know who warned us about that? A wise man named 23 Savage warned us about this years ago. Years ago. It happened before. I mean, to be fair, I don't know. I don't know how they ended up with a stack. And the Mongols play out of Malaysia as well, so I have no clue. All I know is there was no drama. I think the team just really formed up this way. And, you know, it was much... It's not like the old days when Mr. 23 Savage had some choice words to say. Those were the times. Who DC'd? Mac.
What?
Who?
Oh, he's back. Discord.
Discord.
Okay. It's Discord. It's not a disconnect. We don't know how to read these shorts coming up from them, but hopefully they're gonna be fixing it up fairly soon. We do have time to talk a little bit about the current state of the game and how it's gonna be developing in the next 10 minutes. Do you think that this advantage that Essence have gotten is something that should be able to ride for the next couple of engagements, or is it such a small amount that it's gonna be pretty much irrelevant?
I think the amount itself is irrelevant. What is more important is what exactly is flying out. Again, like the pipe for Cox is being formed up. That's going to mitigate a lot of the early magic damage you're reliant on from, you know, from your AA, from your Gyrocopter, even to an extent from your Shaker. It's not going to be as effective. And that should simplify the engagements for Essence in a nice way. You also have some decent spikes coming in. Level 6 for Ponyo's a little bit further away, so the Serpent Wards aren't quite online to pressure onto the towers. But as long as you've got Metamorphosis on Cox, you can get that pressure done anyhow. Nice and quick here with a Terrorblade. And again, you've managed to buy this insane amount of space out for Raven. Like, no one's contesting him down bot. No one's bothering to try to poke onto the TA, especially not while that tier 1 bot is standing. You're forced to just kind of farm around the map right now on the side of the Mongols, leaving bot alone. Your own timings on the Mongols are just a lot slower. Blink timing for Bob is still a good 900 gold away. Blink timing for DJ is a pipe dream at this point with 1.7k gold to go. Like, these same tempo items just aren't present yet for the Mongols. And again, that's despite the net worth lead just being 1k. And net worth wise, you're kind of balanced out, but timing wise, it's lining up a lot better for Essence anyhow.
So that is currently still a pause. Still Discord having issues. Maybe it is the new Discord and their change to the UI that is creating a problem for them. So they're not sure how to deal with it. But already, John, we are in this series. 52 minutes basically have passed since the scheduled time for the series, and we're only 10 minutes into the first game. So let's go long series. That's what we're here for. Maybe not this way, but still, long series is fun.
That it is. I do believe I have the solution for Mac. Unignore Cox. I'm sure you all must have all ignored him. Right-click ignore or right-click mute user. Just make sure you don't mute him. Just a quick heads up. Discord is not that bad a piece of software that you end up with these. I never understand these Discord issues. I don't think I've ever had a Discord issue outside of the servers actually dying. You know, when Discord just fails to RTC connect, you get that error. That's the
Yeah,
only time
yeah,
Discord
that's
fails. And that's a universal failure. You know, it's not like only one user will have an RTC error. No, that's the entire Cloudflare DNS issue normally. So I just never understand Discord issue. Probably a routing thing.
okay.
I think that can be
No, no,
like a
no, no.
specific thing.
I'm gonna. This is probably the first time that you're experiencing a real Discord issue. Usually, when a player says, "Guys, problem Discord," it just means that they have to go to the bathroom, but they do. They don't want to say that they didn't do everything that was needed before the game, so they don't want to get scolded by the TOs or by their opponents, and then they just say Discord because it's the easiest one to use as an excuse.
That it is. It's the easiest scapegoat. That and mouse are the best ones. Mouse, headset are the most common. It's like, brother, if you have a wireless thing, you should have charged it. You know, be responsible. But I guess that's asking too much from our players, as I have experienced firsthand with my adventures with Skem. That would be a very good sitcom. My adventures with Skemberloo. An outstanding time. I can't believe they have 1 minute
has
left. of
1
pause.
minute left of pause.
How do they
time.
have a minute of pause? That is insane.
You mean how did they have that much, or how did they have that little?
How do they have that much at this point? My goodness gracious me. There we go, please. These guys
This is
are
not
having a
good
little
though
bit
that
too much
they
fun.
pretty much have no pause time left, right? If there is a actual emergency once again, and it seems that the gods of Dota are targeting them. It's gotta be problematic.
That it would be, but it's something for future them and future us to contend with when that time is up. But anyways, we've discussed the game state a little bit too frequently now. They are setting up for a little bit of a shove top, using call down to clear out these illusions and creeps, at least on OMQ to slow things down, but top tier 1 tower down to 294 HP. The rest of Essence looking for a smoke flank into top lane again, where we just saw Castaway die twice over. This time maybe can get themselves a juicy gyrocopter with a metal
Run
bits intact.
gyro, run OMQ. He should be fine. They've missed him. They missed him. They didn't place no wards there to see him. So in the end, this smoke is just gonna be giving them a tower and nothing more than that.
A bit of a missed opportunity, but it is always awkward to have to run up into the upper river on this area of the map, so it's understandable. Same thing kind of goes bot, although it feels less awkward bot for whatever reason whenever you rotate in there. I don't know, there's something about that spot that just feels easier to control than it probably is. Game state still holding steady. The pipe for Cox not too far off now. And again, that timing's just gonna make it kind of hellish for the side of Mongolz to look to play their game. They're all just farming. Now, DJ's farming into that blink. You're farming on JT down bot, at least taking a lane for himself. So there's some steady build up into the Shiva's Rush, into Radiance, which is going to be high value if you can get that timing. Drums are up on our Doom along with that blink for Bob at the least. So you do have some initiation lined up here on the Mongolz end. They just kind of need to work that out. Smoke out for DJ and Bob. Getting a jump on Cox pre-pipe could be quite big here.
Let's see if they can do it. That blink dagger is going to be coming in handy. They have the echo as well. A level 1 in aftershock. Is that going to be enough? 2-1 stun. A blast flying in. Bob stuns. Goodbye, Cox. They're going to be finishing him off. MQ gets the kill, and A blast in the end. It seems like it wasn't even needed, but they're just to secure it.
Cox takes it all. That's a lot to throw out for that one kill. But again, it's a pivotal kill. It's stalling out this pipe timing just a little bit longer. Still lacking the recipe at least. They do have that level 6 up on Ponyo. Steady siege now beginning, although catching one out.
He does have the region rune, which versus Doom isn't going to help you too much. He's going to have to save it for another day. Pretty weird positioning coming out from Matt. Not really sure what he was doing there, but maybe the long pause just inflicting some pain onto Essence, and they lost their focus.
There's a little bit of mental damage every single time you pause that long. Is to be expected. That should wake Mac right up. That does even the game out just a tad bit for Mongolz. You know, getting some good value out from first Doom, killing a big tempo setter overall. For the side of Essence, and even if you lose those heroes, losing Terrorblade, losing the Tiny, again, Raven has the freest game of his life. And he is going to get that Desolator in 1,000 gold he's going to have that timing. You can consider making a play, either a quick little team fight or a skirmish over the Tormentor. Nothing too shabby here whatsoever for the side of Essence with that Desolator up and running. And for the side of the Mongolz, it's still somewhat recovery time. Although, to be fair, DJ's Blink not too far off at this point. Just about 400 gold away. So more Blink initiation starting to ramp up here.
That is going to be a very good timing for him. You don't really see that. Arcane Boots into a Blink is going to be around 15 minutes. That is awesome for a support shaker. I mean, it is DJ. This is kind of his forte, but still. Getting very close to it. However, Essence are getting very close to this Dragon Knight. See what Mac is gonna be able to do. He uses the Invis. Spin him out. It's gonna be the Blink. Toss into spot, and they will use the Drum's beautiful fissure to separate the fight. Dogs popping his metamorphosis, and the Mongolz, despite everything, still need to run away, even though they've separated the enemies away from each other. Immediately, a blast will be waiting for him. They have a pipe to protect himself. Avalanche on the two of them, and also the sub avoids Ponyo in a very cool position, not to allow anybody to help. That's going to be a lot of damage into Mac, not enough to die. Cogs will be using his Thunder just in case. DJ hit by the dead shot, disconnect on AMQ. These double dead shots from Ayad have been amazing.
They have been a little bit unfortunate with that separation on the Fissure as well from DJ, cutting Bob off from trying to get out. If he was on the other side of the Fissure with the rest of the enemy team on the other end, getting blocked off, might have been able to get away. Still, the timing not quite right for Mongolz to take that fight. You get the Blink up now on DJ. This is the time when you'd want to make that same play. This is the time you want to funnel them down, and you miss out on that opportunity as the Tormentor opens up for Essence, again, off the back of not even the full Desolator being on Raven, just having that team fight win, knowing that you can secure the area. You manage to take it out as it spawns. A freebie shard out now for Ponyo means you get good old foul play back up. Why? I hate that. Seriously, please. Take care. Please.
No, it's gonna be a strong one. So, we'll see if they're still going to be able to find out which the real chicken is. Going to be finding an A. The Fissure a little bit too late. That shot connecting on just one shot from Raven. Now Doom has been caught as well. That Muerta calling going through him over and over again. If he came out of the shackles, he'd still be silenced and not able to do anything, as Mac is going to be chasing for more Essence. They finally found their stride yet again.
They have. They are playing as a team so damn cleanly, it almost doesn't feel like they've got a substitute in Raven. And already, instantly as he picks up the Deso, 4 charges up. More damage to play with here with a TA, keeping that run and gun going, knowing that the rest of the Mongols still need to farm. Again, their timings are nice with double blinks, but doesn't feel like it's nearly enough. Bob?
Athos calling, getting himself away. They will not be getting the toss back, so Bob should be fine. It's still so much pressure from Essence.
Just making it as painful as possible for the Mongolz right now. 4K behind with this kind of lineup. The lineup that just wants to kind of keep building up. You've got DK Gyrocopter who just wants farm. Even the Doom kind of just wants farm.
That Doom is going to be called Fissure. Awesomely used. And Echo Slam as well. DJ has found an opening. That is going to be a dead Ponyo. And let's see if anybody else will be dying. Nice usage of the Thunder Fox once again. Saving his buddy. MQ going up the high ground. And there's the minus armor. Raven has found his opening. The dead shot off the mark. MQ still pretty strong. Bob, he's going to be finding the Terror Blade. He did save his buddy, but at the cost of his own life. Raven has to get away as fast as possible without the blink. It's not going to be that easy. Nice blink avalanche from Mac. Just cover for Raven, and those traps should generally be okay. But Mongolz, they're relentlessly chasing. Beautiful Fissure. Be connecting onto Ayad. Goes for the calling. It is going to be enough to dissuade the chase. Maybe on some of them, but not on Bob. This guy is relentless.
Yes, that's the kind of cleanup you want after a bit of wonky fights out for the Mongolz. They managed to line things up their way. And what looked like a bit of an awkward position for JG again kind of sets up. This Doom, not the easiest here to kill off. The bonus armor he's getting with the toughness just enough to bulk him up, even though there is quite a significant amount of magic damage coming in there as well. And now you're at the point where, again, the game's just equalizing just a tad bit more for the side of the Mongolz. You check our graphs here, it's a 50-50% win chance for the Mongolz and for Essence, considering all of that back and forth. And you are reaching some key spikes, right? Like the Ags is up on OMQ, could go for a BKB, could go for an SNY, just with this naked Ogre Axe on hand as they will clean up DJ at the least. A nice little punishment out from Cox as DJ's venturing around in bot jungle. Oh, OMQ.
Then Mac gonna be going for OMQ, gonna get tossed back. That is a dead gyro. The only question is who's gonna be getting the kill. It will be the dead shot from Iyad that finishes him off. Mac has been on point with the grabs with the Tiny. It's hella impressive how he's playing this game.
It is. It's been very, very much the aggressor that you'd want to see here from mid-Tiny. Ever since he picked up that blink, he's just been non-stop going around. They're trying to leverage now this quick timing from Raven into the Roche. There you go. Double meld, even the wards drop to make short work of Roshan. No real counterplay option for the side of Mongolz. They are kicking with Bob. They should know something's up. The Ice Blast does connect, slowing this progress down. It would be awkward if you slip this Aegis back into Mongol's hands here.
See, using that Ice Vortex into the pit just to see what's going on. The smoke and out from Essence. Both of the teams smoked up here. They're not in it at the moment, so it might be the first point of contact, which I'm not sure that you want to happen. Now in the smoke as well. Does break. JG caught. Falling onto him. There's gonna be a toss and avalanche. Dropping him low. Not enough to kill him. Bob goes in. Gets hexed up immediately. Ponyo in a good position to defend Mac. Missile coming in and they will be blocking out Ponyo. He needs some help. He needs somebody to throw him up to the high ground. That's gonna be a nice dragon tail. Ponyo will die to the flak cannon. I'll play this time around. Not gonna be saving his life.
Great blocks again from DJ. Very consistent with Vicious. Go for more.
Well done. A-Blast will connect. Cox, he does have the Sunder if need be, and he will need to use it onto Mac if he wants him to survive. Bob, his BKB is gone, and in the end, that is not something that Mongolz were looking for.
Certainly not. They did manage to, again, hold back on Roshan. Rosh is making his way across the river. They are blocking him off for whatever reason. DJ just trying to slow Rosh down as much as possible for a few resets here and there. They do still have Doom ready on JG if they'd want to go make a play. Dragon form is fading from Bob, so you're not going to be as confident coming in there. On the side of Essence are slowly starting to take control down bot now for this kind of opening. Should have enough time now to just do Roshan. Again, they do have certain boards back up as well.
Maybe a bit unnecessary there, especially because they could have good vision around the pit. I guess better safe the approach.
Better safe than sorry for sure, with so much on the line. Having that smooth ride into upper bracket finals is certainly what you'd want to see for a team like Essence. 13-10, side of the Mongols. Just, again, forced to kind of wait out and keep this farm game going. Waiting for the BKB on OMQ. Bob already has his, of course, and the Shivas to eventually come in here from JG. I would say to Radiant, if he went just straight for Radiance, bypassing the Shivas first, I wouldn't mind at all. I think that mischance can provide a lot of durability when you're playing up against a TV, up against a TA, even to an extent the Tiny as well. And that Radiance can do some heavy lifting here and providing a little bit of a buffer zone in terms of HP for the side of the Mongols. The issue is just the time you need to farm. Again, it does feel like a lot of heroes just kind of need to play that farm game out. So you are standing back, being a little bit more passive, surrendering space out to the side of Essence, who have kept this pressure going. Right, like you're still constantly shoving up top with Cox, getting the illusions out, getting some slow and steady poke, keeping waves shoved in their favor. The side of Mongols trying to do the same down bot, please with Bob, but they have the commitment to just clear an objective here, and the Mongols just aren't ready for full defense. They'll force out the 40 at the very least, but the no heroes coming in. Raven, with all the time in this Aegis, there's just no stopping the side of Essence right now to find these small objective wins.
Well, Raven is going to be focusing on that tower. He does have enough range to go for it with the full hero team pike, and that tier 2 will fall the first tier 2 of the game. Interesting enough, Mongols have only taken down one tower. They're a Dragon Knight lineup who went for the Corrosive Dragon and hasn't been able to drop down more than one tower. That is a bummer. And is that something that's gonna haunt them, John, or is it okay-ish for them in the continuation of the game?
It's still okay. You still have decent enough reach into that top point to farm up anyway. You are playing across the map. As long as you maintain control in this bot jungle in equal amounts, you're still kind of getting the same farm out. So you're not losing out too much in terms of tempo and farm pace at the least. You do manage to hit some good itemization starting to line up now. BKB up for Omq, so he's going to be a lot more confident to take these team fights forward. A little bit of smoke out from Essence though. And again, considering that they have so much time in the Aegis, they just kind of want to keep running and gunning. Try to see if they can force the fight into another tier 2. On the side of Mongolz just playing very defensive. Not willing to meet up, not willing to go into that zone of control that Essence has established for themselves, which is a smart play. It doesn't feel great. You're still lagging behind in gold, but you're not bleeding out any more than you have to. The siege from Essence with wards does not take too long anyhow, and they do blow through their last refreshed fortify here onto the tier 2, so not going to be too tough for Raven to just eat through another objective. 2 towers already with the first Aegis, and feel nice and clean here. Oh, Mac?
They found Castaway. That is a very dead AA. The only question is who's going to the Shadow Shaman is rotating. You're gonna have the Hex and a couple more hits. Ponyo with the Aftershock takes him down. DJ, Fissure, fall up there with the shard, and then steep you away. Get out of there as fast as possible.
I mean, all things considered, just losing your AA, not the worst thing in the world. Losing all of this map control is starting to be a pain point for the side of Mongolz. And again, look at Essence and how they're warding so aggressively across the map. And they've got vision in the triangle. They've got a hell lot of sentries to just trying to keep themselves safe. They're keeping their Roche ward is fading, but they have pretty damn strong control of the map. They've got the traps on top of all of that as well, keeping consistent vision as to where the side of Mongolz may want to play or may want to try to set up for smokes. And all you can do in Mongolz is just play farm. And JG is going for the Shivas first. About 100 gold away from the recipe, so that timing is at least lining up. But it just feels like you're ceding a bit too much ground out to the side of Essence. Aegis only has half a minute left at the very least, so you don't need to worry about that too much. But they did get value out. And that's 2 objectives. That's a couple of support kills. Panning out off that Aegis already. They'll try for a smoking Mongolz, so.
And there's the toss back. Hex while he's flying over the shackle. Nobody to save him. Bob is going to be getting close. That gyro is already dead. Now Bob is going to try to finish off Ponyo, which is not going to happen. His BKB also running low. This is probably going to give an opportunity for Mac to re-engage. AG not needed for him, but will use the Avalanche just the same. Cox gets a double. And this could turn into a high ground push. They might not have the Aegis any longer, but they can still knock on your door, and really there's no glyph.
No, there's nothing to be worried about here. Again, they pop their only fortify left after it got refreshed.
Bob, what is he doing? He might get tossed back if he continues showing like this. They don't care. They just want the tier 3, possibly the Raxes as well.
I like that. I feel like Bob's trying to bait out just a tad bit. There's the Ice Blast ready. There's the Slam ready on DJ. He wants him to kind of clump up into his position. And they'll be satisfied here on Essence just to take the tier 3. A little bit of a poke on the range Rax at the very least. Melee Rax can eventually heal up, so not too much to worry about there. But Essence in control of this game. 16 to 10, 7k lead up. Again, the Mongols, all they can do is just try to farm and hope for the best. Shivas up on JG is a pretty good launching point. You would want, say, the Blink BKB rather than the Radiance first at this point. The Radiance is probably just a bonus item if you can even find it, or find the farm for it. Another Tormentor going the way of Essence now as well. But again, no contestation, no control coming out here from the side of the Mongols. Free shard up for Ahiad. And that Spell Amp's going to feel pretty damn good, especially as more Pierce the Veil kills start to pour in, or assists start to pour in. That stacking damage is going to make this Deadshot feel pretty damn painful, especially with that full Ags up and going into the Gleipnir. Mongolz trying to make a play outside once more. A little bit of a smoke out. Again, vision's just somewhat lacking. At the very least, they don't smoke under any sort of vision from Essence's end, but they've got to find a way to make these fights work out.
It's not going to be easy. They know roughly where their opponents are at, but they're gonna be losing the shrine before they get into this engagement, and you are going into a team that is almost 10k gold ahead and in a attrition. Into a high ground. Doom goes in, gets hexed up immediately. He's not going to be using any spells, even with the Fisher. That's not enough to defend him. Bob is also surrounded by opponents. At least he'll get a BKB TP away, but what is IMQ to do? He might have to do the same. Wherever he runs, he's going to get caught. There's the slows, the dead shot was used as well. That is BKB gone, casting from the menu. Mac will find the toss just before Raven finds the damage and pretty much just 2 hits. And of course their Shaker, when a Shadow Shaman finds you, you just die. You know that the lockdown is going to be lasting more than long enough to take you down.
Just again, an awkward angle out from the side of the Mongolz. Essence clumped up, take that high ground position. No forward vision out from Mongolz to try to scout them out. Just like that, it falls apart. You've got some openings out for Essence to try to shove the objectives. You do not have the wards, however, so it can be a little bit slower to pierce through. But you are getting freebies on the map now on the side of Team Essence and the side of the Mongols. I don't know how you pull off this defense. You do have Slam, you do have Doom. You really need that BKB on JG. Without that, it just feels like whenever you jump in, the calling, the silence, the rates are there. You're just not able to really achieve what you want to set for your team. And again, with the power of the Terrorblade, just slow, steady chipping away with the Conjure Images. It doesn't take that much commitment to really look for some of these softer barracks, some of these softer objectives. A 13k lead manifesting itself for the side of Team Essence as Mongols still need to find a way to make this game work their way somehow. Still need to find that initiation, and it's JG without a BKB. It's just down to that, it feels like. He needs that BKB. If there's no Doom, then it just feels like there's no fight whatsoever here.
Or just make sure that the Dragonite is the first one that's jumping in with the BKB and giving info. And then wait a little bit with the Doom, not be just the first point of contact. Mac running forward, Bob using the Dragonite. He's time to connect, and there's the Doom. Now connecting all the time. He does have the BKB if he wants to use it, but first there's going to be a summon. Now with the BKB, he's going to do his best to run away and should be successful doing so. Bob goes forward, the Doom is being annoyed by the illusion, and there will be the one to fall. Foul play, running to live a little bit longer, not for too long. A full fissure there, gonna be connecting onto the TA, but with the working fight he's fine. Doesn't want to pop his BKB, might have to because of that homing missile. Tiny thinking about re-engaging. No more Doom, but the blast opportunity does the same. Bob kills him before it even does connect, and that is going to be another one. So an opportunity for Mongols to go for more. Nice dead shot to stop any kind of chase there.
And it all goes back to what you said. Just have Bob jump in first, give the info. Maybe a little bit of a cleaner target as well. Mac exposed by himself with no saves around him, or at least close enough to buy some time, get some silences off. And that does provide the window that the Mongols need. Trying to get this game swing back their way just a tad bit. They find a mid-tier one. Not the big mean objective you'd want. They have an opportunity for Roshan here. And they do have the Slam ready on DJ for a counterfight. They might be willing to actually just give Rosh control away and hope for a counterfight action instead. Let's see if that's something that the side of Essence will feel antsy about taking ASAP. We do have Raven slowly scaling up even further. Has the Crystallis up and running into that full Daedalus next when the farm does eventually find its way into his purse. And again, Rosh going to be the big objective. Looking to scout around first. Yet?
They're looking towards the Shaker. Nice dead shot to push him back a bit, but no follow-up. So without that, the Shaker is apparently going to be fine. He's still in this game, but Rosh is a big objective that you don't want to do away.
Only Raven and Pit, so it's really awkward for DJ to hope for a big slam play here.
Ice Vortex inside of it as well. You have to be careful sending it there. Gonna be an invis, or actually that's a smoke, but Illusion's obviously able to break it. Mac does. Rosh very, very low, but Mongols, they see exactly what's going on because of the Ice Vortex. They might be able to just themselves in eating for an opportunity inside of it. Mac is gonna get something that is a big initiator. It's the BKB for Bob. They want to stun. He will try to fight himself away, and with the pipe will be more than capable of surviving this.
Not enough damage just yet in Bob. Again, the Rosh is still slowly being chipped down. Unfortunate that the sentry is just outside of that Rosh pit lip. Still?
Going in with the Doom, gets the stun off. He wants to get the Doom, and he will be able to do it. This is a huge one, especially because now he doesn't care that he doesn't have the BK because he has 2 lives to play with. The A-Blast is going to be going towards Raven. It should be clipping him. No, he gets the blink away just in time. They've only lost the supports. Essence, if they go out of this fight this way, it's actually going to be ending better than they would have expected. But in the end, Raven will fall. Mongolz have found an opening, and now they're going to be turning this game on its head.
That is insane that JG managed to get that done. Blinks in, gets the War Stomp off, gets hexed up, but still manages to walk. They didn't instantly shackle him. If they just held back, they would have gotten Aegis out onto Raven. That fight would not have ended as badly as it did right then and there. But Mongolz managed to claw their way back in. They are still at a 4K deficit, but taking this Roshan away from Essence does keep them away from the high ground, keep the threat of the full super creeps on mid lane to just appear. Only the range creep is still manageable enough here. And again, to equalize just a tad bit. 2K lead remaining for Essence. Not huge by any means whatsoever. You are getting that scaling kicking in on the side of the Mongolz as well. Full butterfly already up on OnQ, going for the Satanic next. You've got Bob, who's been sitting on his durability with the AC, is lacking a little bit of damage. So does need some sort of steroid to boost that up. We'll go for the Hurricane Pipe first to try to get some some distancing out for himself, prevent being kited around in the middle of these fights. But you are seeing some of that bite left in the Mongolz. Essence are still in the advantage. There's no mistaking that. Again, range super creep on mid. No outer towers left for the Mongolz, but if they keep finding pickoffs like this, you could be in trouble.
The momentum is gone though, right? And that is a TA lineup. TA lineups usually, second Roche is when you should be overtaking the game, not where you should be losing the game. Fortunately for them, they just weren't expecting the Doom to be that on point with his jump.
A little bit of a smoke out here. This time they're on the low ground.
Where OnQ is at, that jump connects, toss as well. OnQ dropping low. Fissure, perfect, onto multiple heroes, actually onto all of them, just stops. This attempt onto OnQ's life, he will survive only because DJ is pretty much playing this game out of his mind.
And he is. And perfect blockage point. The same choke point where the team fight failed for the Mongolz is the exact same spot where Essence forces out that movement. And it's just not ideal when you are in the low ground, not having that info out. Don't manage to catch out Bob as well. Quick reflexes on blink away from Yava. And they are playing the stall game out. Mind you, having Aegis on JG might not be the ideal, but it does still allow him to maybe be the initiator for the team, relieving that duty from Bob, having 2 lives to play with. They have to kind of find that angle once more. They need to be able to find a backline, or just kind of take care of these squishy heroes first. Get good Ice Blast going for yourself somehow, if that is possible. Move on to more than one target, which we haven't really seen from Castaway. It's been a little bit of a harder game for him to kind of get that all connected together by himself. Again, despite losing a little bit of that tempo here on the side of Essence, they are still keeping creep waves under control. Like, even top lane, like, the fact that this top tier 1 still standing is a big pressure point for the side of Mongolz. You'd want to clear it out. You want to have some threat cross the map to ensure someone has to respond to a creep wave being shoved in. No such threat, really, with tier 2 standing and with a tier 1 standing top, overstaying its welcome for the side of the Mongolz here.
Things are still looking okay for Essence, just because they're controlling the majority of the map. And I don't know how long that is going to last, right? Because did the other side buy a gem? Yeah, they have one on Castaway for quite some time. So I assume once they take care of these traps, finally Mongolz are going to be able to come out a bit more on the map.
They ought to be. 37 minutes in, 19-15 with a 2K lead still hanging on Essence. And again, with these items creeping closer, like if once OnQ gets a Satanic, that burst play that they tried to make happen onto that high ground, suddenly becomes a turnaround opportunity for the Gyrocopter. Stand his ground, pop Satanic, wins out. Yet smoke does break.
And that is a very difficult. He has no way of getting out of that one. Castaway snipes him with a nice blast. Meanwhile, the tier 3 will be taking a decent amount of damage. So this is one thing that Mongolz always have to think about: how to protect our base, and it's not going to be easy.
That it isn't. Again, in terms of map control, that's where you're still falling flat here on the Mongolz. You need to clear out that top tier 1. You need to be able to just shove these creep waves out for longer. provide some space for yourself to keep that game going. I like this deep ward coming out from Essence. Could allow some opportunities down the line. They need to manage to dodge out from that movement into the top lane as well, as the Aegis does expire. The game has fully equalized. 1k lead for Essence is meaningless at this point in time. And the side of the Mongolz, well, full Satanic up for OMQ. Satanic being formed up here for Bob. You've got still the Radiance being queued up here on JG, which, again, is still a fair pickup, considering that you already have the Radiance, adding a little bit more evasion to OMQ with no MKB in sight for Raven. Does make this game kind of hellish when it comes to like a core-to-core matchup and you're just trying to right-click each other down. That's going to feel a lot better for OMQ for sure. You are still keeping the wave shoved down bot, ensuring that you don't have that much time in Mongolz to try to sneak around, but they will still try to sneak in down here.
Bob goes in instantly, gets hexed up. He did get the stun off. However, I don't think that's going to be enough of a lockdown for Mongolz to be able to get the connection. That was a pretty nice response coming out from the Shadow Shaman. Though, even if he didn't get hexed up, there is a chance that Therablade easily just away.
Still had some room to kind of bail out. The backup for the Mongolz, not quite quick enough to follow through from Bobby. And again, just a little bit of a quiet period in a very back and forth match on the side of the Mongolz. Still need to equalize map control. Next Rosh, we'll see in about a minute 10 how long that respawn will be. You do, of course, have the TA with the third eye on hand, so Rosh control for the side of Nemesis, much easier to figure out. It could lead to them, again, just securing that control much faster, maybe a little bit cleaner than what happened last time, because this entire debacle happened because JG managed to snag away Aegis. They were forced to play defensive, not able to pierce high ground. They lose a couple of big cores there from a position where they were ahead on the side of Team Essence, and it just provides this way in for the Mongolz to keep that pressure going, keep this game up and running for themselves.
So
see the shift.
Shaker will have his Octarines, and this is kind of when it becomes almost impossible to play teamfights versus it, because you're always going to be playing inside of a fissure. The downtime of a fissure, I mean, when it's on the ground, is going to be like 2 seconds maybe, and that means that he's just consistently going to be stunning you around it. It becomes very, very hard to play against.
And it does. It becomes 0 seconds once you have the Octarine. Right now you do have it at 13 duration, 13 cooldown. So you can be blocking off quite nicely. Yeah, around 2 seconds of gap. You're going to be able to just constantly reapply that, along with all of the aftershock spam with a short up. You will have to commit these BKBs early to even find an angle. And still the smoke out here, though.
Is this a target? GG would be a great target as well. Get AMQ. He does have BKB and the Satanic, and he does get the BKB off. X wasn't there in time. A bit of a bad communication there. Though he's losing his BKB, needs to be very careful. Fisher coming out onto the Muerta, into the back lines they go. Only missile connecting. Dragonite is going to have to be dealing with his own reflection. Everybody's still alive. Most of the spells still available. Bob is gonna be found, tossed back as well, gets the BKB off, A blast is gonna be flying through, and that is gonna be that Shadow Shaman, not just yet, but she should be dying to the overtime damage of the DK. Now, Tiny has been caught as well, again, Thundercogs every single time saving him, but who's gonna be saving you now? And Bob does finish him off with the overtime damage as well. It is gonna be next one on the menu, Cold Feet Fisher, goodbye Tiny as well. And Mongolz, another fight going their way.
Again, another re-engage from Mac where he's trying to get that burst play out, but it doesn't feel like Raven's even ready to follow through. Like, if you don't have the TA willing to come in when that Avatos comes into play, or if you don't manage to toss back close to a hero that's close to TA, then how exactly are you hoping to burst a DK with 4.4k HP and a godly amount of armor? Like, that is just not something that's easy to melt, even if you drag that in to Raven's firing range. Like, it's just not feasible at this point. Raven's trying to go back for that full MKB to try to deal with OMQ, but now Rosh has spawned up, and you're in no position to go for that on Essence. Mongolz have the opportunity to take this Roshan away. This is with the refresh and the cheese on hand, along with a banner. You're going to be able to clean it up nice and quick. as they do have the damage output running on Anki with just the crystals up. And the game has fully turned. A 3k lead for the Mongols. Again, not the biggest lead in the world, but the tempo is back their direction. They've been able to take all of these fights. The Aegis should allow them to now pierce through tier 2 towers. Maybe take care of that top tier 1 as well, because it's been such a pain point for them in terms of having to rebalance top constantly in the past 10, 15, 20 minutes of this match. And for the side of Essence, this is where the game starts to become a little bit rough. You know, like this Terrorblade can scale up, but it's from an offlane position. So again, you have itemized for durability, for utility. Your TA does start to hit a hard cap, considering that she is a minus armor physical damage core, playing into a DK with AC, and playing into a gyrocopter with a butterfly up with no MKD. Like, you don't have easy answers for when that commitment fully comes in. At least he has it now.
Yeah, but I haven't seen Raven being able to find an opening to fight. He also has an 8-second BKB, so Raven has been pretty conservative in his way of using the BKB and joining the fights in general.
Again, it doesn't feel like he's quite upfront enough to try to play off these blink avatosses like Mac, which feels like that has to be one of the launching points for the re-engage. Your TA has to be ready to back you up. You've got the full silver edge now as well for Mac to try to look for these angles and have a pretty good chance of breaking here onto Bob. So he's just gonna clear out the creep wave to slow down the siege. At the least, Essence are doing a great job of just keeping that bot creep wave shoved in as well with the Terrorblade illusions. Again, they have to find answers for that, but some outer towers are starting to slowly fall. Take that top tier 2. Mid wave again being cut off by the shenanigans here from the side of Essence. So good delays overall being done by the Radiant side. And Mongolz, that's going to eat into time where they have this Aegis. You know, they have to course correct on these lanes. They have to go back, waste some time, and that's all you want in Essence. Just waste as much time as possible, stall this out. Mac is going really deep to waste some time here.
But the Doom might actually see him. He's not going to be able to find him. Shiva off the mark. That was quite dangerous for a Tiny, though. He will live.
Nicely calculated for Mac. Again, they are stalling this game out very well on the side of Essence, constantly cutting creep waves, ensuring that there has to be someone on every lane just to ensure that the creep wave will get somewhere useful. They do have bot access now, though, but I don't keep walk him up with his Daedalus up as well. And taking care of his tier 2 tower shouldn't take too long, so leaving one outer tower left for the side of Essence to play with, and still having 2 minutes on the Aegis.
I mean, they want to push this. Spanya is on the top lane, ready with the level 3 Serpent Ward, so that is something that you're gonna have to think about. Let's see just how fast Anfield pop can push. There's the glyph. Now some hard decisions are gonna have to be made by Mongolz. They didn't deal with waves, which this is gonna be a problem. It's not hard for them at all. They're just gonna go for the push, but they're gonna be losing 2 axes while doing so. Shaker will be keeping in Bob as well. Axes have fallen. Meanwhile, on the bottom, only the tier 3 was playing, so Mongolz definitely lose more than what they gain.
What they do. Again, this is eating into that precious Aegis time. Only a minute left, and they haven't found like that big commitment where they can utilize these 2 lives in on queue in the fashion they did want. I love this response out from JG. Just go into Travels too. Just be able to go back, course correct on the lane. You can have decent clear with a Scorched Earth up. And you can kind of try to counteract that nuisance that constantly happens up top from the Shadow Shaman, from the Terrorblade, from trying to just push out and find your opening there. 19-19, 3k lead again standing for the Mongols. But Essence are keeping themselves in the game. Hey, if your objectives don't fall, you're still in the game every single time. And again, they're the ones to actually make more progress with the range racks down, having the range super creep at the least to help naturally shove out lanes. Does make it a nuisance for the Mongols. Still, you know, you've got the refresh shard still sitting on JG. So double Doom, double BKB still on hand if need be. Or just slowly trudging around.
He has bombs too. Well, Mac is gonna be finding an A. TP out. A blast gonna be used. Boom, of course, you don't want to use it while he's TPing out. Is there anybody who can buy a Basher, a Bissell, something to stop them from doing this over and over again?
They don't really have the item slots for it. Not quite. And maybe you could try to go for a Basher and Castaway. Hope for the range bash chance. It's not something that they would ever consider, but I feel like these slots are a little bit too valuable. Perhaps you could on, I don't know, maybe Bob's the best bet. He could utilize it. He could try to sell off the power treads and just rely on the Swift Blink, but it also just feels really awkward. So, unfortunately, no easy answers for the BKB TP away here.
Yeah, you can't do much about it at this point. But you can punish them when they do it by going for a fight, going for an objective. Next big one is going to be Roche, 2 minutes, and of course, in 2 minutes we're going to be finding out when it's going to be up.
And this is one that you can't afford to give away on the side distance any longer. You have to be able to play with confidence as we saw them play before. You have to be able to see them just try to zone out the team fight, get some vision down around Roche, take control, take Roshan themselves, have that opportunity to try and play. Because if you don't, it's just going to lead into the same process where, yes, you'll try to stall out as you get Travels 2 up on Aoki now as well. But you can try to stall out as best as you can. With these Travels 2 up, that same play of split pushing just doesn't pan out as well as you'd hope it to.
Ooh, Mac.
You are going to be able to.
Okay, this is very dangerous for the Tiny, and this time around, no BKB TP out. He will die beforehand. They did break the Lincolns and Kuzuku. They will be catching the Gyro. Has a Satanic and the BKB. A blast is going to be flying through. Uses the Satanic. Heals up from just one hit. He is even going to be making sure that this Shadow Shaman doesn't come out alive. He should be able to survive in the fountain, I think.
Not quite enough with that Frostbite to kill him off. Maybe, again, just lacking the Shard and Castaway to simplify some of these pickoffs. He is prioritizing, again, more utility out with the Lotus Orb first. But a free Shard would go a long way here. They could find room to do that here on the Mongolz. Try to take Tormentor control at the very least. And get something going for themselves. Next time that spawns up. We are now 15 minutes in. So we have matched our wait time for the series so far. And our first game has gone... We did launch at around 8, so it's been an hour and a half. So, you know, we've managed to catch up there with game time. You know, we've gotten our value here, Harry.
Yeah, makes sense, makes sense. We might actually get to see tier 5 items today. That'd be cool. Lecta has a BKB, also has a level 20. Speaking of level 20s, Frostbite, level 20, Talent, as well there. He doesn't have a BKB TP out opportunity. DJ did blink into the trees. Sunder being used, the MQ as soon as that happens, goes with the Sunder, goes with the Satanic, and is back up to full. Meanwhile, in the top lane, Bob is just posturing aggressively, no reason not to. He's kinda unkillable. 50 freaking armor.
Yep, you gotta love that. You gotta love DK. Just how much you can get done. Still, the fact that he's been relevant for so long as well, it's amazing to me that he's relevant in different ways. But that he's still relevant, yeah, I'm not the biggest fan, but you know, if it works, it works. You can't fault the pros for using what's strong. And you are seeing why, and the scaling's starting to kick in. You have some good items still left to kind of fill up here for Bob. He's just going to go for a Mjolnir. Has the Ag's Blessing if he so wishes, although it's not going to be as high a priority for the Black Dragon as they catch out in Mac. He could be TP again.
He did doom the Lincoln Sphere though, but still has the Refresher Shard if need be for a fight.
That he does. I'm surprised again that Essence still has pause time as we do get the go ahead. They have less than a minute now, I'm sure, as the last time we checked it was a minute. Used a little bit, so they've dipped into it. A few seconds in. So we are approaching the 1 hour mark of our game 1 of the final series of the day. And the Mongolz have managed to, again, kind of take advantage here. When you check the graphs once more, and probability for the Mongolz, 54%. But considering how
Last coming. Bomb. BKB off. Now he can stand his ground. Of course, Ayad is not going to be caught by him. Praise the Veil, BKB, pretty much untouchable.
They are forcing some charges out, but you're at the point where even Ponyo has his own BKB up and running. So you have fun playing into BKB shackles. For the most part, that's not going to be a very pleasurable time for anyone on the side of Mongolz if they don't want to have to commit onto that shaman. A little bit of a smoke out from Essence. And you could be. I don't know why on earth you would be, but hey, if you're a sicko, you know, you might be one of those guys who ask for the Satyr Tormentors back.
Yeah, Essence, they're in a smoke. Tiny, not in it. He is on the other side, and he's been the one making the moves. All induced, Fissure as well. Not some Onion, of course, is still smoked up, so we don't know about it. Nice dead shot. Nobody too eager to commit at the moment.
Right. You might be starting to get eager now with a full Ags up on Bob. Black Dragon form up. More damage, more effectiveness out on his Corrosive Dragon. Just need to find a jump, but everyone's dodging quite nicely. And yeah, Mongolz with a smoke also not going to find much. Roshan is open. There's an amp damage rune for the taking as well. So that's going to be nice and juicy for anyone that finds it and goes into that pit. A little bit of a rinse and repeat for Mongolz if they do manage to get that for themselves, which, again, it's going to feel awful for Essence giving away another Rosh, giving away an amp damage on top of that. I feel like they don't really have the best choices here so far. Are we at the point where you might have to consider something like a Divine? Not quite. I don't think you're desperate enough to have to think about Divine Radiance yet. It's all down to how well you can try to execute around here. Rosh will fall unceremoniously with that amp damage rune up. Another Aegis, another banner, another cheese and refresh shard on hand. You're shoving in top and to drop the wards onto melee rack, so a quicker response is necessitated here.
That's now 2 refreshes?
Yep.
No? Where's the one that doesn't do? It's not there.
You might have eaten it a while ago.
Maybe. Oh, Avalanche used.
Oh.
BK in some trouble. They take him out.
Oh.
Nice Echo Slam, but in the end, they're only going to be killing Ponyo with the Force Staff. He will fall though, Castaway. Zolti lingering way too long. Crystal Totem AOQ doesn't get connected on by the dead shot. And Bob, look at how mad he is with the Swiftling going forward. They want Mag that homing missile. It will not stop until it connects, but of course, it's a Lincoln's here, so they'll be fine pushing this one out. That is a great one that you kill the DK, force out a buyback, and only lose the Shadow Shaman.
You still have this opportunity to cut waves to prevent the side of the Mongolz getting anything. Heck, mid is just naturally shoving in with 2 siege creeps, some chip damage. On that, regenerating melee racks. They do clear out the top melee racks now as well. So slowly but surely in the war of attrition, you are still finding some better openings on Essence. As now top lane will constantly shove in with the full super creeps up. And again, for the Mongolz, you've got to be smart about how you take these fights. Heck, you've got to be very careful with Bobby. If he dies now, he just bought back. Not going to be too safe if he's in the firing line.
I feel like they just buy Rapier on the Gyro and they go Throne. That's what I would do. Like, I'd get so annoyed, and he did queue it up. So, that for me would be a pretty cool approach.
I think that's fair. Yeah.
There used to be a Castaway there.
There used to be a little bit of a magic trick. The Divine would certainly help things out. I do feel like you can't afford to go Raxo. You would just want to end this game right where it stands, if possible, on the Mongolz end. As this is just steady suffering. Illusion
really,
shoving
when we
in.
look at it, do you even with Rapier push faster than Essence? Could Essence just ignore you and do the same?
Yeah, I don't think you necessarily push faster, especially if they just stick Cox and Raven together and just shove in themselves. That does feel relatively quick as well. Like, I don't think you're too bad off here on the side of Essence if they come down to a base race. So, you can kind of take your chances with that divine for OMQ. I would appreciate if you tried to end the game, but it's also just not a very easy call.
Launch toss. They bring down DJ. He does have a buyback as well as the AA. OMQ is gonna get Hurricane quite away. JG has Zag and Scepter running in, but he still needs to get close. Pretty sure that's ideal to use it on yourself. Find the stun, Muerta taken out. That's not something that they were expecting, so they get a gem. It's on the ground. Somebody still needs to pick that one up. Oh no, Castaway, he just bought back and don't want to die again, and he will. Without the AA blast, you're really not that strong. JG will be next on the menu with his Doom. He does absolutely nothing, and he did refresh. They have the cheese onto the Shaker. He might need to give it to one of his scores. Cox taken out. He didn't have a Sunder, nobody to use it on though. 3 versus 4, Avalanche Dogs, goodbye Shaker, 3 versus 2, have they finally found an opening? Essence, they've been annoyed by Mongolz, Mongolz winning all of these fights for the past 25 minutes, but Essence waiting and waiting and waiting, and the opportunity is finally here for them to win it all. Buyback on the gyro is available, but 2 versus 4, can you really do it? Bob, standing his ground, the big black dragon will not be taken down easily.
They've got the numbers to come in. But after Terrorblade, it might be a little bit slower in push progress. But Bob. Oh!
He goes forward, he wants Ponyo then. 4 step away. He will be getting himself out. Ayad, a little bit of trouble, doesn't have the Pierce the Veil. We'll have it fairly soon. Homing missile. It doesn't help. It doesn't help versus the homing missile. They will be taking down Ponyo. Still the opportunity is there. 3 versus 2. Dragonite is really strong, but OMQ, look at the attacks going for him. Can the Dragonite do it all on his own? So without the Satanic, it is just not going to happen. And DJ disconnects. He's not too happy with how this game went.
Certainly not the side of Essence. After a very rough time, they managed to find that opening from a very awkward fight on the Mongolz end. And they get the punishment. You know, they managed to let the Mongolz stream in one by one, kite them in and out. JG as well with his Doom choices in the end there. You called it out when he doomed himself the first time. The second time he did it, when he just dies without really applying Doom Fury facet as well over the Dispose facet and trying to drag someone along. There is a lot of scaling potential. Like, it's not just all in on Akashi. Ponyo can kind of scale up as well. If you do get the lag, pause, and XD from Castaway, game call out from Akashi.
What does this
telling
mean?
him that, yeah, Bob's saying that he's getting under pressure. This can add pressure for you.
It's cool to have somebody who's gonna be able to translate. Go on.
Yeah, Mac is saying, that's ATF, Akashi the Filipino. Akashi's saying, of course, you're talking to a handsome person here. That's why it's pressuring for you.
Yeah, I feel like now when you're translating like that, I feel like it's when I was a kid, somebody reading a comic book. You know?
Yeah. Bob is telling, oh, are you Filipino? And then Akashi's like, no, I'm Bisaya. Akashi's telling Bobby to focus, and that's it. End of memes.
Okay. Is it the end of memes? We're gonna be finding out fairly soon, because they've been doing quite a lot of this old chat, and I hope that the viewers have been enjoying it as much as we have. I can see that you like it when you see your own language here in Dota. It's always nice.
Yeah, it's more that they say some really random stuff. It tends to be that. It's just, I don't know, they like to... Bobby's a talky guy, right? Like, even in typing, this guy, you can't imagine how talkative he is in person. He's insane.
Well, that is going to be Bob getting the bounty rune. I thought there was not going to be...
Oh, Bob. Come on.
Yeah. Okay, and he's also going to have a pretty solid time on the mid lane. I mean, I've seen Burst do really well since Tiny's in the past, so probably should be the case now as well.
Shouldn't be too bad off here. We were watching a little bit of a block down bot from JG to force a creep wave again, right under tower. Try to get it shoved out. And that they will be. This lane is a little bit slower. It's the kill off OMQ already. The heck? The heck happened there?
What? Yeah, don't know. It happens.
Just a lot.
Whatever happened, obviously does happen from time to time.
A lot of
Never
folks.
experienced it.
It's that thing again with a Kotl. You get Illuminate, you're spamming it out, you're getting some burnout with a Firestorm as well. And that can be enough if you're not careful with the Illuminates. It doesn't look like you expended too much mana here though on Ayad, but it does get the job done. Onq, I mean, that's really not what you expect. You expect a little bit more, laning into melee as an Ursa. Theoretically, you should just be able to poke back onto Cox, especially as the mana pool starts to run low. And, you know, early level Chakra is not really enough to fully sustain with a cooldown. So there's some play potential there for the Ursa. Castaway has to put the work in to zone them out with the Dual Breath and the Liquid Fire. But with a kill like that, you're already on a strong start for Cox. Like, you get the levels up in Atrophy, eventually get the value point in Pit of Malice. Trying to get that chase down onto Cox is going to be a lot tougher, especially now that he has Brown Boots. And that early kill opportunity that you'd normally have not really presenting itself. And you've got room for Ayad to just constantly try to stack up now with that Kotl and his Illuminate.
Both boots and the lace, right? So only when the Ursa gets a full phase boots is he really going to be a threat to the Underlord. Q. He doesn't have boots at all, so now he's going to be taking a lot of damage. He's playing aggressively on this Ursa, and now we're finding out how he actually died earlier because he wants to assert dominance somewhere where he can't have it.
I mean, I appreciate that. It's just a little bit too aggressive to maintain that lane. I mean, quite a fair bit in terms of CS now. Cox constantly shoving out. Castaway has the right idea to try to poke back the backline of Ayad, but that just leaves Cox with a lot of room to play into Onq anyhow. So we can take a gander at the other lanes. We were looking at the bot lane just a while ago. You're starting to build up steadily here on Akashi. You can't really pressure out on JG. There's some combinations you can get once Sprout is up. And once you have maybe level 2 Celestial Hammer, you can kind of gap close, try to poke down Akashi. But with Ponyo having the dispose and potentially having that rebound as well, not going to be too easy and really looking for that full commitment out to Akashi unless he severely oversteps and they don't utilize their spells in the way that he wants to here. So you're happy with a farm state right now on Akashi. He's getting that build up he'd want on the Dusa very early on. He has the ground boots flying in. They're still poking up top. Trading away some blows here.
Castaway is very dominate. Will be going through, and there's a TP in from DJ. Ox will be getting his Firestorm off. Healing Lotus being used as well, but this should be a dead Underlord. And as soon as you get out of the position, the chase down is quite easy. Dispose being used, the TP back from the Nature's Prophet. His Dawnbreaker needs him, and he will be back just in time.
Yeah, not quite under enough threat. Has the protection from Tower at least there for JG. He does opt for the value point in Luminosity to just try to maintain that lane, get a little bit of healing and damage going while farming up, and have a little bit of a threat for the early Starbreaker if he finds an opportunity. But again, your real play starts to kick in once you have level 2 Hammer. Try to gap close onto Akashi. See that opens up a little bit more later on. Haven't really talked about the mid since the start of the game, but Bob has been building up nice and steady. Not a 24-11 up against the 15-4 of Mac, and it's like you called it. The Ember tends to have a very good time against Tiny. They're not having the smoothest of starts here. 9-4.
He's lying.
Yeah, he is. Oh, Bobby though, all chatting the CS. You know he's feeling himself at that point. Good old Bob. He's probably telling his teammates, look at me! 24, 27, 12, guys! Maxo noob! He's probably yelling at that.
I know that it usually backfires, but this is manly from Bob, right? A lot of people, they win the game, then they write into the old chat and they feel all high and mighty. No, you do it at the start so that if you lose, that you face the consequences. Right? This is what you should do. This is respectful. Cox gonna be on the menu once again. Beautiful Sprouts. He can only eat one of them, and well, he cannot run himself away that easily. Even with the high ground, this is someone keeping in. He will still be losing his life. Castaway this time around is the one to claim it.
And I like this realization that if you force everyone away from JG, if you force away Ponyo, disconnect him from the Dusa, then the 1v1 lane for Dusa and Dawnbreaker is very manageable for Dawn. The key factor is just having to play into that Marcy. Still down mid, some pokes.
Bob is level 6. He's not a target at all. He'll be using a remnant towards top and probably running towards the bottom lane to make sure that the first power rune will go his way.
And I like that idea from the side of Mongolz. After a play up top, just go for the secure across the map. Hold on. Bob?
Just bottom.
Oh.
Bob gets himself away. And it is an injury. She should be getting it. Now looking towards Castle. He doesn't really have that mana back. He's got his mana put back onto him, but only the avalanche will come out. Toss a bit too long until he has it, and they're really making mistakes here on the Essence side. Bob leaves a remnant, goes back to base, and he will be able to continue laning, no problem.
Again, they're getting the ideal setup for JG on the off. He's just soloing, he's getting EXP, he's getting a steady farm now. Level 3 Celestial Hammer up. Thing out the creep wave with no problems. They do at least start to rotate Ponyo back in to try to provide a little bit of a threat onto the Dawn. But look at this clump up top, like wanting to contest the Shrine of Wisdom, and looks like they're just going to be able to find it.
Bob is just getting everything for his team. Having such a great start to the mid lane, punishing this Tiny, and then with the rotations of the supports, making all the difference. So far, DJ has been making awesome rotations as well. On his Nature's Prophet, making a hell of a difference in this game.
He is.
Ron Cox. Out. But he's so under-leveled. After the start that he has had, you would have expected an Underlord to be crushing it. Well, he is getting crushed.
He is not the game state you'd want to be in as Essence. Underlord from behind just doesn't feel great, right? Like, you want to be tanky, you want to hit these early spikes on the auras. The Vanguard's still somewhat lining up, but just doesn't feel quick enough, and the level disparity is just insane.
You're gonna block him off? Even with a bit of malice, that is a dead Underlord once again. All of these creeps that are now underneath the tower, first of all, they're gonna take his tower down, which for an Underlord is a disaster, but also, he's gonna be losing a big chunk of that wave as well.
Yes. Just missing out on everything. Rune control. Bob looking for it. Does not spawn in Mac's favor again. I hate when the times they're going in.
Solar Guardian will connect Celestial Hammer as well. Starbreaker, he doesn't have his spells to stop it, and that is going to be another one. At this point, it just looks way too easy for the Mongols.
And it is. They're wiping the board across. Essence not having much to play with. Wait.
It is gone. They're just gonna kill him. Bob doesn't even want to use the mana for him. You're not worth it, my friend.
I'm so confused. It says Bob bottled the haste. He had denied haste, and Bob used haste. Which one is it?
Yeah, if it happens in the same frame, sometimes it fucks.
Yes.
Good old boy.
Yeah. Right in the same tick. Always fun to read. Game time for Bob, as it's 1-7, and Essence have not found a game just yet. They are getting a ton of space out for Akashi. It's all in on the Dusa, but losing all of this tempo across the map is certainly not going to feel great when you've got a Tiny and an Underlord behind. Even the tower mid now falling with no deny to kick in. Essence need to find recovery elsewhere. Blink timing for Max going to be awful.
How do you find the recovery here, John? What do you do?
You stall. You stall, you hope for the best. Someone's gonna have to get sacked, if any. Probably Mac, if not Cox, is just gonna stay in the back foot at this point in the game. And you just kind of hope this investment on Akashi, the space that he's been given, will pay off in the end. Manta's set to fly out. Rebound falls flat from Ponyo. Good look for a play here.
Coming for him. Starbreaker, on point, didn't get the disposal of. DJ away next to an Ember Spirit, not gonna be happening. Bob comes over, and they do take him out. DJ is now also level 6, so Wrath of Nature will be coming in handy, shoving in those waves, making it even easier for Bob to play. It is game time for him.
It is. We get the Arcane Rune as well. All rune control coming in here for Bob. Everything you could possibly ask for on the Ember is kind of lining up for him. There is some good wards again from the side of Essence. Very nice defensive wards, watching these entry points, trying to keep track of where Mongolz is playing aggressive. And again, considering this game state, you're 3k behind, a nice early lead for the Mongols to have for themselves. But Akashi is number 1 in that word. Issue is Medusa with just Yasha is not really a launching point for that just yet. The Manta can kick in, maybe it starts to feel a little bit better. You're really eyeing even more items to stabilize this game. And we're nowhere near that point just yet. As long as the Mongols keep this pressure up, they can easily just smother the side of Essence into a game 3. Like, if this keeps up, if this same map control, same issue of tempo maintains itself for 10 to 15 minutes, you are choked out on the side of Essence. Like, there is no way to juice the solo carries you that hard when this disparity maintains for Mac and Cox. Mind you, right now, the disparity isn't that big. It's just that relative total farm, 700 gold behind, is pretty significant at this point. If that gap just maintains its proportion rather than its absolute value, then yeah, the trouble will continue. We'll see. Essence trying to sneak out. The smoke phase boots done on Mac. No blink, but they are going to try to unleash that avalanche toss combo here.
They can do it. There is a ward scouting out DJ. See if we can get on top of him, and they should be able to avalanche toss, rebound. DJ illuminating, he's not dead. This is the one shot for Solar Guardian as well. He will be surviving through it all. They didn't want to commit because of this. And now the Medusa needs to run away as well. Doesn't have the Stone Gaze. Does kill it up right now. Hitting the save point. Takashi. Medusa never wanted to live, but he's inside of the macro parse. Even with the Stone Gaze, while they're looking at him, they finish Akashi off no problem.
This is getting pretty painful for the side of Team Essence. Mongolz just on point with the aggression. Again, I appreciate that they're trying to make some plays out with Mac. It's just that without the blink, you can't gap close as fast as you'd want. There's a tier 1 TP point there as well. Everyone just backs that up on the side of Mongolz. You're giving space out to Cox now, and again, I would much rather prefer that Cox is just completely sacked and just allow Akashi to get that investment. Now he's lagging slightly behind in farm off of that. That's some temporary taken away from him as they maintain this aggression here.
Going on to the tiny Sleight of Fist chains with an AD rune. If a nice path connects, it's going to be a problem for Mac. He does get his mana back with the spells coming off cooldown. You do want to think twice about the dive there on Bob.
There's some respect for some damage that can come true. Showing some respect for how often the Avatos can come in with a chopper up. So they do, you know, temper that aggression just a bit. Invade the triangle instead, steal some farm away. 1 to 10 so far as DJ is looking at that bit here. Ooh. Ooh. Oh, one more right click.
Wasn't enough. The one tiny again, they're just not lying back to farm. He needs 800. Link, and now he's going to be losing some as well. Macropar, after the ice bath, one more Sleight of Fist will end it. Bob got it just in time to finish the tiny off once again.
Just been on point for that aggression. Look at how badly they're choking out down bot. They can't even access this bot jungle. Only Cox is getting farm top, and the investment in Underlord I don't think is the play. Sakashi's getting caught out now.
For him, uses the Stone Gaze, already has lost the majority of his mana. He has 21 charges and a Mango, and should be able to survive because of that. He's attacking through the Blade Mill. The poor Marcy kills herself. Ashton is around, gets his mana back there from the Chakra. How do you punish this? Mac will be coming over. Maybe that is fine. Some beautiful Ice Path Solar Guardian. They baited him in again. Sleight of Fist chains, keeping him in place. What are you going to do now when you don't have the Stone Gaze to protect yourself? Maybe with the Chakra, they can keep Akashi alive, but he gave it to Mac. He wants to go for the aggression. Illuminate through. JG a bit too fast. He's not going to get caught by it. In the end, only one hero died, but that just means another victory for the Mongols.
It does. It drags so many resources down bot. And again, you're not getting the investment back that you'd want here. You are working into the Atos for Cox, so you will have that hold in the pit mouth, some chain control to maybe try to pin down Bob if he's not too careful. That can start to make things a little bit more interesting here for the side of Team Essence. For the Mongols part, I mean, Aonkyo shows up, and he's starting to get willing to play with a Battle Fury going. Maybe wants that Blink Dagger next, and you've got some considerations. A pick off into Roshan starts to open up. The Tormentor is available now. The Mongols are closer to this general area. They look to just get themselves a nice little gold injection, plus a free shard for themselves here. And that is what they will set out to do. And you're not in a position from Essence to try to counteract that just yet. You do need so much more farm to come in. You just have to use the space given from this objective. Free shard for DJ. Pretty nice to have on hand as well. Help to find some heroes kiting around with the Curse of the Old Growth. A little bit more damage coming in as well. And again, it's 1-12 Essence. This is an atrocious game so far. Like, there is no sugarcoating this. They just have to sit back. They have to try to hope to play off a timing. Blink up on Mac could be one timing, but same blink up on Ankyu can also cause some issues here.
And the Nature's Prophet is looking to overtake even your Medusa. That is how bad this game is going, or how well it is going for DJ. He's just having a hell of a time. We talked about the core Nature's Prophet, and we got it, even though it didn't start off that way.
Basically has turned into that point with lovely itemization as well. Just having a Spirit Vessel, having the Force Staff to bail anyone out from the Pit of Malice, from some chain control, from the Gorgon's Grasp as well. And that does keep things in a really good check here for the side of Mongolz. Maintaining that 8k lead, still applying pressure all across the map. Mac?
Looking towards the Tiny. They use the Stoss as well. A few more hits from here, so are going to be enough Pit of Malice. Gets used, doesn't really do anything though.
They're still just completely cutting off this bot jungle. The side of Essence now starts to play towards top, which is really the only area to play. Get that build up on Akashi, trying to get his own diffusal into probably a disperser out here to just try to get maybe some sort of self-save on hand, or at least get the inhibit on to prevent being just run down here.
You also need damage, I think, right? If you're Essence. With the current state of the game, your damage is non-existent, and Diffusal is somewhat of a solid damage item for Medusa.
Can be. It's not quite the ideal in comparison to a free game where you just manage to AFK farm Manta Butterfly, but it is a good a stopgap measure to kind of give you some presence out. Smoke from the side of Mongolz after a tier 2 could just go for the Roshan straight away, but they want to go hunting first.
Nice smoke break by the time he saw the sentry being placed down, and because of that, they're going to be knowing about it. However, that sentry will make them lose a ward. No, Mac takes it out. Was it really worth your life to try and save that ward? He doesn't even have the avalanche or the toss to delay this death a bit. He's just going to forfeit his life.
Not really worth it. And now the opening for Roshan is very clear-cut for Ankyu, making his way into the pit. Just with Blink and Battle Fury, more than enough here for the Ursa, of course. Be a little bit lacking in someone to just tank Rosh for him if possible, but will try to weave himself in and out to get those stacks going. The side of Essence, honestly, this wouldn't be too bad to try to make a steal opportunity. It's just that they're completely unaware. On your playing tag with GG.
Well, now once DJ comes over with the Curse of the Old Growth, they do see him quite clearly. Bonnie will try to escape. Nice stop with the Starbreaker, but in the end, goes down just the same while the Roche drops as well.
1-15. A big bloodbath from the Mongols. This is almost historic with what you'd expect. This is like the Khans moving across, the Khaganate moving across. It's bloody, man. Essence are just getting wiped across the board. And I don't see a silver lining here, Harry. A diffusal stuff in Akashi, great, that's nice. Is it enough? Not particularly so. Maybe you start to play and combine that with a Pit of Malice, get the Avalanche Toss out, play with Gorgon's Grasp, try to kite them around and melt through their mana and slowly poke them down, but I don't know if that threat is fully there. Look at the confidence from the Mongols here.
Why would they ever stop? He's going to be using the bodyguard, so Akashi does do a decent amount of damage. Rebound away, DJ comes forward, wants to finish him off. Bobby's going to be protected by the Solar Guardian. Very hard hero to kill, but in the end does get taken out. Only the Aegis, however, Ponyo is out. No bodyguard. The Medusa, his damage is in trouble. Nice toss back. JG though, pretty tanky there. Has a lot of armor with his blade mail face boots MQ. Pops the enrage, gets himself away. That's going to be 2 heroes dead. Mongols, other than the Aegis, they don't lose anything.
And just forcing out the side of Essence away from farming. And then cut down right around their top between tier 2 tier 3. Find a straggler though.
Let's see if Castaway really is that Atos a bit late. Let's grasp. Gonna be going for the Stone Gauge just for the extra movement speed. Castaway will get caught, and finally they do bring him down, but let's see at what cost. Akashi now doesn't have that himself. Q. In a bit of trouble as an empty enrage. He's gonna be next to the middle. He's out of the pit of malice. Now you all die. Akashi gets a double DJ. Uses a Mango there, doing his best to escape without mana. Very soon, he's gonna be the next one on the menu. Is that a triple one for Akashi? Well, they should give it to him, but Cox says, no, I need a little bit of gold as well. You can't be the only one holding the glory. Essence, fight back.
They do, and the side of the Mongols this time, maybe getting a little bit overzealous. That's a pretty significant gold swing back their way. That is a 4-for-2 trade. A 2k gold swing in favor of the side of Essence, equalizing the game just a bit. From 10k advantage for the Mongols down to 8k. Need a couple of more of those fights to really get things going, but look at that. Off the back of that, Akashi now top net worth. Already has an Eagle song up. And into the butterfly he goes. Once that butterfly is up, that's where issues start to rise up. Omq's not going to be able to just twack away onto the Dusa carefree and know that the Fury Swipe stacks are building up. You're going to be missing a lot of shots. And we're seeing already some of the kiting issues that come out here with the inhibit as well, and the slow and steady damage output boost you have with a mana break on hand as well. So, Mongols, they're still in control. They're still in a good spot in this game, but they have to be careful about bleeding that lead off. Even your supports dying can swing this game back in a very meaningful way for the side of Essence to equalize to a certain extent.
Anyo has been found, Solar Guardian. For the kill. Nice takedown. JG gets the or actually DJ gets the kill.
I don't mind that. Like, considering the build-up you've gone here on JG, DJ is actually more damage oriented, going for the Orchid next, could go for the Blood Torrent to help mitigate that. Butterfly coming in on the Dusa. So you have some ways of piercing through with the hits. 420 now on the scoreboard, very nice, as you like to tend to see here. We are 22 minutes in as well. And again, the side of the Mongols, they dropped a little bit in that last fight, but the pressure's on Essence to repeat that fight. It's on them to kind of look for that opportunity again to drag this game back, because they are still at a deficit. As the side of Mongols will go for a little bit of a smoke around. Haste Rune up on Bob, and a BKB on Aumq should fix some of those issues from the last fight here.
Okay, Akashi though has the butterfly. Damage output of this Medusa now quite strong as well. Bob basically has to go for that haste to get himself away from the Medusa. This game no longer is straightforward for Mongols. It felt like they were in complete control, which they are in still, but when it comes to fighting this Medusa, you might actually lose the fight.
Yeah. And that is the issue. If Akashi is comfy enough, if they manage to get the Pit of Malice plus the follow-through chain stuns, it is painful. It's a painful zone of control that the side of Essence can easily exert. I like that they are just going into the MKB for Aumq. That's going to sort some issues out. They break the smoke as well in a nice manner.
Nice force staff for Mac going forward. Let's walk into the ice path there at the edge. Still look at themselves cast away. One thing I would ask you to do when the bodyguard gets used on Medusa, see how much damage he has. It's gonna be quite easy to calculate. I guess he's gonna get like 150 extra, a little bit less than that, right?
Around 50, 60 damage, I think, 200 with.
Yes, it says 75%. It says 75%.
Lifesteal and oh,
like
yeah,
damage bonus.
That's fair. That's fair. I was reading the base. That's the passive, of course. Fair enough. Yeah, it's gonna be a little bit crazy once it's up. The side of the Mongols at this point, I mean, they are starting to lose ground. They're doing a great job of recovering. You have to notice as well that kill on Castaway was worth about 700 gold on a measly Jakiro. That's just how far ahead you are in the Mongols, and that's how punishing every single kill that Essence finds is going to be onto this side, or the side of the Mongols. So again, you have to take some caution here. You're not looking to play aggressive. It's a good smoke break, but Castaway dying does set them back a little bit in terms of building that advantage up. He's starting to shrink down a little bit. Kashi, for his part, going for a Hurricane Pike to try to get himself out of dodge as well. You've got Mac.
Get himself in. Knows.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Either way works.
how are you gonna deal with the split push potential? Because they do have an Aegis and the Dawnbreaker, so I feel like they're so good at making sure that the waves are shoved in. How do you counter that? Do you have the tools?
I do feel like you do. Again, you do have at least the recall if you're kind of trying to course correct and you need to drag in some heroes for a fight. You can kind of split off. You've got the gate usage as well, so you have some ways of keeping that same map presence almost, not quite at the same tempo as DJ can get done, but you can kind of respond across the map or play a little bit more split apart on the side of Essence than you'd normally expect to have to do so. Bobby.
See Cogs. This is the chains going forward with the Malice as being used. That Atos as well. There's another bit of Malice. Not gonna be using the core like a no reaction. Now he's gonna go for it, and rebound doesn't connect. Bob really needs to be careful when playing with Medusa.
Just a little bit cautious of that one. The side of Mongolz. No. Catch up, Mac.
Guardian. No TP out for you. Just allows him to land a little bit faster than the JG having that Aghanim Scepter.
But I was doing a little bit of reading. Just a tad bit. Does it mean 75% of life steal and attack, or 75% of the base bonuses? They get the jump here onto Cox.
Force that onto the high ground there, or over the cliff rather. Still will die. DJ is just everywhere. Now we're seeing that split push and catch potential of Mongolz really coming into play. They're not playing around any longer.
No. They managed to build that lead back to 9k, close to the point where it was previously before they took to drop a couple of heroes. So they're back to the point where they are dictating this game again. And for their part, in essence, I mean, this build-up in Takashi is steady. Right, Disperser's going to be coming out next. Hurricane Pike's in to get him in or out of these fights. Roche control is going to be important, and we do have a little bit more time until the Roche does spawn up. I'm in at 40, but that is something for Aonkyo to just pick up. And if you're on Essence, dealing with that Aegis again is going to be a little bit tougher. You have some better tools, but it's already taking a lot of work to try to find some of these pickoffs. Dealing with 2 lives on, like, Bob, probably on Aonkyo as well, it's just not going to be simple. In fact, I like this build-up in Aonkyo, going straight for a nullifier, trying to ensure that these 4 stabs won't be an issue, trying to keep them locked into his loving bare hands, and see if that will be enough to kind of mitigate some of this kiting around that they can get done on the side of Essence, as Roche is back up, spawning north side with the banner.
Might force out the BKB here, but nope. There's a 4-staff on the Jakiro. Will make sure that Bob is out of that bit of Malice.
Yep. Miss a little bit of an opportunity. But are starting to get some confidence out on Essence to sneak out themselves. Heck, not going to try for Roche. They're going to try to sneak onto DJ. Not going to be easy here to pick up. Teleportation is on cooldown, but not for too long. And just kind of get that farm game going. Would have been.
Can't get it. He has a Bloodthorn now as well, so his damage output is actually quite high. I thought he was going to be going a little bit more pushing route, maybe Deso or something along those lines, but no, he wants to smack you in the face.
Yeah, I think it makes perfect sense just to have a way of, again, reaching on into Akashi, kind of hitting that hero consistently with a Bloodthorn. So long as he times it with the Mantis style usage, it is fine, although with the Disperser up now, it might not be as clear-cut, as there is a couple of ways of dispelling now. So, not going to be as easy to smoke as well here from the Mongolz. Not going to catch anyone. They still haven't checked Roche either. Want to pick off first. Mac?
Not really something that's going to help you, so he just kind of accepts his destiny. The Break of Dawn has been used as well, so Mongols know exactly where Essence are at. They're not out of their base. They are very close to it, and now you know that you're choking them.
Like you are. And these items all being up in Akashi is nice, but it is only Akashi farmed up. You've got 4 cores above Cox and Mac and farm. I say cores, and DJ is, again, as you mentioned there, Harry, pretty much a core at this point in the game. And I don't know what you're going to be expecting out. Again, they have some ways of keeping them locked in. Roshan finally being taken by the side of the Mongolz. Not going to take too long to wipe that out. They even have the Radiance up on Bob to provide, again, a little bit more of that evasion and mischance for everyone on the team, preventing some of that output from Akashi. And heck, even Ponyo going to be a little bit worse off with having to deal with the Radiance here now. It's 5 to 23.
Things are kind of getting out of hand, right? I don't know what Essence are to do, right? If sure there was a point in this game where they had only 1 kill and didn't really have any farm, but this to me is worse because you actually don't have a response, and I don't know how you get it.
I think it has to be down to near perfect team fights, which is a very hard thing to ask for, right? But it still kind of stems down to their concept of control, which is Pit of Malice, Gordon's Grasp, and Avalanche Toss. Maybe you start off with the Ava Toss into the Pit of Malice, try to pin some heroes down, melt them through that point. It's just that we're not seeing the clump up that you'd want to see here on the side of Team Essence. For the part of the Mongols, taking the gate across, looking for a foray down bot. Mac is getting recalled away, so the smoke is not going to connect onto anyone unless they make a move onto JG, who could be a nice sitting duck to kind of pin down here.
That'd be a great thing to start things off. Did they spot him? Mac gets the avalanche. Get himself away. Still have to use. Shouldn't be able to escape inside of Malice. I suppose closer. They stopped the toss from Mac there with pretty much 2 of the spells in the supports. But either way, a kill's a kill.
Kill's a kill. And again, that's 518 plus 900 gold going to Mac. It's a significant amount of gold off of 1 support kill. And that's what you need to do over and over again on the side of Essence. Find that moment where the side of the Mongols are kind of split apart. Try to get those kills going your way. Try to get the cleanup. Try to find those pickoffs and equalize the game slowly but surely. Hey, you're still in dire straits on Team Essence, but at the least, you know, pushing into high ground here for Mongols is also really awkward. You're pushing into a Deucey. You're pushing into the greatest turret in the game along there with Sniper and his plinking damage. Look, Akashi is presenting himself fairly far forward here.
Silence off. Thinking about getting himself away. Looking fight, man. As well, go far, has connected, and they want him dead. They'll use the Stone Gaze, that should be enough. This way, they're going forward. Ursa is taking a lot of damage. He's inside of the Pit of Malice, and despite having the Enrage, it's not really helping him all that much. He's dead. Bob has to use the BKB to run himself away. Hurricane Pike out. Nature's Prophet is fine for now. He will be hit there by the tree toss, and the end does survive. Bob is going to be as lucky. Doesn't have any mana to work with. Castaway next to him, and then he will get a beautiful ice path off. We might have just actually saved his life, but who's going to be saving him? He has the BKB. Doesn't have the enrage at the moment. Doing his best to run himself away. The damage output isn't going to be good enough. Solar Guardian coming in. JG now, he's all alone. Doesn't have the force, but of course from the high ground, the supports are doing the damage. Blade Mail. Medusa doesn't care about it all too much, but he doesn't really have all that much mana to work with, so you're better off just running yourself away. The supports of Mongols making all the difference there. It would have been a disaster unless they played it so well. And now Castaway, he wants more lucky for Cogs that he doesn't really have mana to work with, but very soon at least the ice path will be available. Going forward, has disarmed. So this Bloodthorn not working out immediately, but in the end they get the kill just the same.
Bob is saying, I didn't buy back Akashi so you'd live. Akashi, you've been warned. Could have bought back. Not gold. Could have bought back. Better watch your back, Akashi. I mean, again, a very back and forth fight. In the end, I'd say it's still not bad for Essence, considering that you're finding kills, you've got your Deuce up to level 24, you've got the damage slowly pouring out. You did overextend, like you didn't show that much respect going into a very tight choke spot, into a Jakiro with all of this control, into an NP who has so much damage on hand if you're not careful. And you do have to respect these supports quite a fair bit from the side of the Mongols. But Essence, again, they're hanging into this game, man. They're still in it to win it. And they are 1 game up. They'd love to be able to just take a nice simple 2-0 for themselves, considering how long the series has gone on for. And we'll have to see if they can, again, just stall out as best as they can, start to reel back this gold lead, start to make it so that 15k, maybe 10k starts to feel less and less relevant. You've got a Sight of Vice up now on Cox. That's a stepping stone, a massive stepping stone to help them again, just complete that lockdown cycle and get the control they'd want. A little bit of a smoke out, though, from the Mongols. On a little bit of a hunt. Might be able to get this collapse up top. Good scan here.
Awesome one. If they start moving back, they're gonna be going over enemy vision as well. Cast away ice path. Over the Marcy. Nice macro fire. No one has to be Gibby. DP out will be successful. Phase reduced as well. Well, Ayad is not gonna have the same luxury as a Marcy, but if that's the only hero we can do, it's not half bad.
Certainly not. Cox gonna be able to gate away here as well. In fact, he's just staying around. Maybe looking for... Doesn't have the Fiend's Gate, so I was thinking he could have tried to set up for his team to come to him. But they are still playing around her vision here. Kashi a little bit forward.
Still too dangerous, right? Versus the Nature's Prophet, who's the most farmed hero on the Mongol side. Oh, silence onto the Ursa. Goes for the rage. BKB and Marcy will be taken out. Tries to force himself out. Fox doing his best to run away. His armor to him too. BKB is way too afraid. The grasp does not connect. Castaway will be fine.
Bailing out. A little bit of a hit and run as the tower does fall as well.
Ooh, avalanche off the mark. Gets the silence off, but Akashi's now isolated. Because of the force step to low down. He do find behind him. But he used this force step there defensively onto the Medusa. No fire on him. He didn't help him much anyways. A tosser, sorry, moves in a second. Still had the enrage to work with.
The lead is just widening down for the side of Mongols off the back of this poking and prodding and off this support punishment that they're finding for themselves. 18k lead, right around a while ago when we were talking about the advantage, it's only about 8k. So it is starting to get a little bit out of control, well, around 15k actually last time. It is starting to, again, slip further away from Essence. They are still getting all of his humongous investment onto Akashi. And the full Blood Torrent not too far off now. It does feel like he still needs a damage steroid. I don't think that physical threat's really there. Again, even with the Marcy adding on the bodyguard with a percent of that base bonus, it's not quite enough. You'd want maybe something like a Daedalus if you can think about it, or just straight up a Divine Rapier time. Yeah, it feels like I wouldn't mind that too much from Akashi considering this game state. As you are 20k behind, it's 7 to 29. Next Roshan, we'll see in about half a minute how long that respawn will be. And you've got all the tools piling up here from the side of the Mongols. Ags up on Bob, you can just dance around these team fights. Satanic up on JG with an AC to boot. And it's just so hard to kill off some of these heroes now if they are clumped together on the side of the Mongols. So, same story goes for Essence. Where they found their most success is in pickoffs. They have to find a way to split apart the side of the Mongols, get some punishment on individual heroes, and hope that the Mongols start to stream in one by one to widen that advantage and try to reel this game back in.
Ice Path used, Bloodthorn again, Akashi just poking a bit, but the thing is that as he's poking, the side lanes are being pushed in more and more, and Mongols are increasing their lead by a huge amount as well. So I'm still not sure what Essence needs to do to actually find the right fight. Mongols should never give it to them.
That they shouldn't. And as long as they stay relatively clumped together in the same area, don't give this opportunity for a pickoff, then Essence will never find what they're looking for. Again, it just becomes a matter of feeding gold into the basket that is Akashi, and draining the economy away. He should be at the point where he should be concerning the Divine, not the Daedalus, and straight up with the Divine Rapier, and do some good here if he does manage to farm into that point. We've got some room to maybe shove into that bot tier 1, not the biggest objective to find, of course, as there's a bit of a flank out from the Mongols. Smoke out, unit of 3. On the side of Essence already backing off, knowing that something is awry. Just not even giving some opportunities to the side of the Mongols to widen that lead as well. And
well, DJ doesn't find an opening. And it will be coming over. And bring in another hero, and maybe they can go for DJ, but that is not the easiest of targets for sure. Definitely a hard one to bring down. Avalanche and the Jakiro. That's pretty much the only support inside of the Mongolz, but can they bring him down with the Ghost Scepter Castaway? Should be fine. Nobody dares follow him a bit deeper than that.
No. A lot of conservative play coming out from the side of Team Essence. They know that trouble is just around the corner. If they overextend again, that's the end of the game here. Have to be very cautious.
What do you do? What do you do, John? Because I don't know how you win. You kind of have to risk it at some point.
Imagine you do.
What is that
I think they're... I mean, to be fair, they're not losing if the high ground never gets taken. So they could afford to also just play stalemate like this. They are trying to smoke. Smoke is revealed from Akashi just hitting into the creep waves. The side of Mongolz trying to gun this time onto Roche, 20 seconds away. If they find this jump while there's relatively scattered here, that could be the big opening they're looking for.
Scanned, they know exactly where they're at. Ayad is going to be scouting them out with the Illuminate to see what's going on there on the high ground. Doesn't get any info just yet on it. Are they going to get their last tier 1? Let's go! Essence, but from the side, Mongolz, they're not going to be just sitting idly. Of course, that way Yules doesn't really help. As the Nullifar has connected. Now they go forward. Ember's Spirit has that Aghanim Scepter. Mac with the 4-step gets himself away. BKB, the out damage output's very high, and the bash kicks in just in time. Wanyo doing his best to escape, and of course another bash will connect just because JG is way too good at equalizing the side. Or maybe that was the Ursa this time around, but either way, 3 heroes dead quite easily. Roche.
Not going to take too long to melt, of course. Same story of the game. OnQ can clear out Roshan quite fast on that Ursa. And with 3 heroes down, there's just no counterplay whatsoever inside of Team Essence. There's going to have to wait. Hold the high ground. Again, their high ground hold is pretty menacing. You've got Dusa, you've got Underlord, you've got these toss-back plays that can come in. Mongolz will have to try to pierce through. Divine Rapier now being queued up for Akashi. That's when the damage can start to really kick in, as we haven't seen the Dusa really be under too much of a threat here. As long as they play their position right on the side of Team Essence. And the Mongolz, for their part, I mean, 7-32. Surely at some point this game will end. I'm saying all of these things about high ground hold, but you have a 26k advantage. That ought to count for something at some point onto the objective.
Why did they leave everything in the pit? They're like, we don't need this. What the hell?
Oh, yeah, I mean, that's probably Bob telling them, just leave it, you know? I was just like, don't need, just leave. And just leave it. Why not? A little bit of river pollution. Not too uncommon in the Philippines, sadly enough. Bob, clean your mess. OnQ, no, don't ride into the bad influence. Make sure to pick up your trash every single time. Later on.
Yeah, sure. Cheese, refresher shard, banner, pretty much trash stuff. It's, no, one man's trash is another man's treasure, they'd say. And you know, Mongols, they are rich, so they can get away with that being their trash.
That they can. Someone from Essence just has to check. Just Pit of Malice in, not Pit of Malice, just Fiend's Gate in there. Literally just Fiend's Gate in to pick up all that junk in Roche. Castaway, is he gonna walk back for it? I mean, he has a banner on hand already. And yeah, they get the couriers in, they don't have vision.
One.
Come on. There you go.
Yeah, those are the previous banners. Now he has 2 of them.
Okay, Bob actually cleans up the trash. Alright, they just forgot. They just actually forgot. They can't believe
No,
that.
he listened to you. He listened to you, and he started feeling bad about himself and the pollution that he was causing. I think that was the case.
It's fair enough as well. Certainly a possibility. 7-32. 30k advantage. I cannot stress how much I can go in circles here. I'm running out of circles to run around.
They're trying to take away his mana. They're gonna take away his first life. And refresher shards, G still to play with. It has the BKB to survive. Yules, avalanche off the mark.
The Divine's up.
Ember needs to be careful. He's gonna be dancing around with an Aghanim Scepter, as you mentioned, but this is still quite dangerous.
Oh, she's kind of crazy.
He doesn't have. The BKB had the cheese, however. Refresher shard still on him if he wants to. Of course, maybe he should wait for his remnants to come back themselves and then go.
getting crazy. With the Divine up, Akashi's playing with full confidence, just looking to run forward. And the damage output on this Dusa is insane. And that's for the most part without the little added bonus on the body card either. There's a little bit more room for damage to flow in. Mind you, some big items being picked up now. Castaway has his Ags, so the Macropire is going to hurt that much more. Titan potential is there. They are doing a great job in Essence to make sure... Yeah, I mean, they're doing a great job to ensure that any fight takes away a little bit further away from the high ground. Right? Like, just... It's such great stall out from Essence. And the Mongolz... If they somehow fumble this 33k lead, I would be a little bit speechless. I mean, again, Essence are in no position to see this game state and be like, yeah, we're winning this, guys. And this is not a winning game yet. But the fact that they're even holding on at 46 minutes in is...
Silence is there. They get the Hex off. He's... Oh, not just yet being healed up there. Not enough. Without his BKB, he's going to be taken out. Now it's going to be the JG next on the menu. Buyback from the Emmerich. Didn't leave a remnant going forward, but inside of the Pit of Malice, that is quite dangerous. Losing the Stone Gaze, but finally they lose the Mars. Looking right away. Inside of the Pit of Malice, you don't want to be there for sure. Akashi trying to get himself away. Akashi a little bit too late. So you fight now until the very end, but in the end, the Rapier will drop onto the ground. They need to take it back right now. It's their only opportunity, but there's just no way to do so. You have 3 of your heroes alive, 2 of which just bought back.
Q snatched it up, straight up. Made an opening in the inventory. Divine Rapier Ursa to pierce into the high ground. Akashi doesn't quite have enough to buy another Divine just yet. This makes it a nightmare. He had so much output, but he overstayed her welcome again on the side of Essence. And the buyback from Bob, we heard his threat well go. Didn't buy back Akashi, that's where you live. He bought back now and didn't manage to get that cleanup. It's going to take a miracle for Essence to try to get a hold back in this game. They need to save this buyback and Akashi for the Divine. He needs to find that gold for it.
He does buyback. It is going to be a problem without the Rapier. You almost have no chance. We saw the difference, but look at the push from the level 25 Nature's Prophet. You're only buying back now, thinking that the opening was made, but the disengage from Mongolz will be clean.
Will be. I suppose Akashi has some options. He could just look to sell an item, but he needs to sell a lot of items to get enough gold for this. High ground hold still sits in. The side of Mongolz could look into Roche number 4/5 at this point, if they wanted to. And just play it patiently. I mean, slowly chipping away at the objectives already lining up here anyhow. We got Mega Tree. And again,
it
Essence
really is pushing too fast. That Mega Treant is not fair. It kills the tower in 5 hits.
That it does. 234 damage. Times 2. 500 damage when both types. 460 damage. Scrap away. You at least have the Dagon up on Mac to delete them. So he is ready. He is ready for these creeps to come in. At the very least. 46k lead. Yeah, I mean, props to Essence again for holding on this long. Props to the Mongolz for showing a lot of restraint and respect, but at some point this game has to end.
Which way will it end, though? Is it certain that it will be going the way of the Mongolz?
It's an 80% probability according to the graphs, which I do agree. There's a 20% chance for Essence, especially if they manage to get gold for another Rapier on Akashi and he doesn't overextend with Maniac. Certainly can still happen. Smoke out from the Mongolz. Maybe they catch a straggler, but no one's dipping outside of the high ground at this point.
Smoke. Can they find themselves an opening, Mongolz? Kill the Medusa, win the game. He also doesn't have a Rapier, so maybe this is the right time to just go in. They are going to be sending an army. Up against it, but inside of the
nerf Tidebringer conceptually, he lost his annoying Ags, which is a fair call. I think that Ags was too annoying. But now it's just a hero that doesn't feel cool. It doesn't feel amazing. It doesn't feel rewarding to land all your spells because you're not killing anyone. So I don't know. I don't know. It's weird.
I feel like Mongolz got everything they wanted though, right? I agree with your sentiment. I'm not really sure what this Essence draft is supposed to do. Because if I'm looking at Mongolz, they did exactly what I wanted. If my enemies have a lineup that can split push, shove out the waves, I just want to go full on in. Bristleback, Ember, Coddle, Do. Like, 4 heroes that literally just want to run at your face. Run forward and that's it. And really, when you look at it, when there's no Ravage, you have got no way to stop them.
No. You're really way too reliant on just having the Ravage up, or at the very least, a really good ghost ship landing set up for yourself here, which, again, is easier said than done. Mac just checking for wards. Obviously not finding any as he's walking right within the tower. Although he will get walked into by Bob. Will cop a hit at the very least, but break the smoke.
30 seconds to battle.
I don't know, man. I know I'm still looking at the Kunkka and I'm like, why would you willingly do this to yourself, Mac? Maybe he just wants to play some Kunkka. You know, I mean,
Yeah, maybe.
he did have his moments, right? Like with his Ags, with the ghost ship and the cannons, it was like, okay, it was kind of popular at TI for a bit. For I don't know how long ago was that TI actually. We get really old and crusty, but it was for a little bit. It had its moments. I don't know.
The battle begins.
What I do know is this is something that JL on Mongolz would say is a theoretically good pick. As we've discussed the merits and demerits of Kunkka multiple times, he's like, he does believe Kunkka is good. The issue is JL is on the other side. So it's not like his theory crafting is going to Essence, but Essence has picked it up themselves at the least. So hey.
Well, the lanes will start this time around. No fighting beforehand. How do you reckon this mid lane will go? So I remember back in the day when Kunkka could deny creeps with the Tidebringer. That was like 6-7 years ago. Ember Spirit was one of the few heroes that could at least get something out of that lane. So does it mean nowadays Ember does better than the Kunkka?
I think it can go either way. Like again, it's down to whether or not you can dodge out from Tidebringer. You do still have to respect its damage early on. And the cooldowns do kind of match up. Kind of how well can you dance around there. It's still pretty playable for Bob, especially if he does manage to get the double impact onto Mac, which again shouldn't be too tough for the Ember to kind of get done. And that harassment is going to be consistent. I think when it comes down to that, considering that there is a mana cost of slight, you have a slight happy time here on Mac. And the damage out from Tidebringer is not to be underestimated, but again, Bob shouldn't really be bullied out too hard. That is the one thing that I think you have to be aware of. Is, yeah, you just do that. You see him coming in for Tidebringer, wait until he's close to committing, slight dodge, and you're happy for days here, Bobby.
Let's look at the bottom lane. Okay, good time to look at bottom lane because Ayad is in trouble. He does have 9 stick charges, so generally should be fine. And Amq doesn't want to use any more of his mana. How does this one look to you in general? Can the Tide get a solid amount of farm in this lane? Because so far he's kinda struggling.
It's not the comfiest lane to try to get farm in or harass, huh?
What? Mac? He survived because he's the luckiest son of a gun in the world. Bob used the chains and it went onto all 3 of the creeps behind him.
What can you do? Just Mac would call that a skill difference. He'd call Bob as such if he wanted to. But that is, yeah, I mean, he's staying in the lane. He's got level 2 Tidebringer. That does feel good. At least there is that. You are still getting an even amount of farm on both sides. So both sides are actually still getting that build up. I think looking at bot lane again, I don't think it's going to be the best of times for Clocks. This is not a lane where Crack Control really does you too much favors. Poking out the Bristleback also doesn't feel great. Your poke back with the Jakiro is pretty solid overall. Castaway is going to be able to counteract some of that long range poke himself. And in a very stable lane like that, Amqi's just going to have a run of it. You know, like, especially as he reaches level 3, level 4. Once you've got the value point from Goo, once you can maybe threaten the chase down, you could look to really bully out Cox early on. And the stick charges, the wand charges can make it a little bit tougher, but that consideration is still there. The last lane we haven't really taken a gander at is up top. We do have The Nature's Prophet kind of laning up against Doom, and Kashi's having a great time in that NP so far. Not being zoned out too hard by JG. He does have the Devour out to try to eat up the Greater Treant or just prevent it from being too impactful here in the lane. It's probably the most passive lane out of all of them. It's a lane that will just stick to farming for the most part, unless JG or someone severely oversteps and just kind of ends up in the line of punishment. Both sides should be happy enough to just sit back and farm up here.
That's a glimpse, solid amount of damage on JG, but he should be fine. I like that he has a speed aura, so if you do make a mistake on Essence, he might be able to run you down with the help of the card. We'll see how well they utilize this, but for now, is he buying a Vanguard on the Doom? No, just the
just a casual ring of health to heal up,
yeah.
which I don't mind. Just sustaining through the lane until he maybe finds a sap recruit if he wants that to add a bit of regen on hand. And one way, if he's not looking for too much aggression, ditch the movement aura down the line. So far, a very quiet game to kick us off here in game 3. 4.5 minutes in, no first blood just yet. Mid lane starting to pull a little bit ahead, just slightly on Mac, but the denies on Bob are starting to pile up, although
Bob in some trouble. Gonna be using the chains, which means that Mac will be taking a couple of hits there from the tower. Needs to be careful. Has 5 stick charges, so isn't really close to dying. It's still a dangerous situation for both Mac and Bob.
Bob?
He's coming. He's got him. Well, DJ came over to just steal some of the experience in the mid lane, but Max says, no, I'm gonna be going forward, and with the run buff, he doesn't really care about this. Akashi comes over to secure the kill. Mac, with the outplays, kills pretty much both of them. Of course, a little bit of help coming in, but Akashi wasn't really needed there.
Bob was a bit overconfident to keep hanging around and soaking in that lane. He didn't even manage to get the bottle top that he'd want from Bounty Rune, which he could have opted to do earlier on. Just ditch the lane for a bit, get a little bit of a top up, go back and try to play poke. Does get punished for it. I will give a shout out to Mac. Like, he is a very big Kunkka specialist all the way back to class in Admiral. There's that to consider as well in playing that hero on the leading edge. Finding 2 for his value instantly off of that 6 is great. We are seeing a lot of pressure down bot. Q is level 4 with level 2 quills. A lot of damage to kind of pump in. Fox still having a rough run of it on that Tidehunter so far. And that is a cause of concern. This Bristleback is going to engage some pretty good timings here overall. And once he's ready to kind of run down, like you mentioned there, Harry, like that full aggression into a push lineup is going to pay off dividends. Bob might be off to a bit of a slower start, but you are compensating quite nicely on Almq, at least on this early laning start.
Yeah, Cox is having the worst time out of all of the cores, really. His lane really hasn't been going well. And sure, Ember Spirit after that death is not going to be feeling too good about himself, but generally this is a pretty good Ember Spirit game. You don't have much to catch him, and even with the Disruptor, his spells can be dodged.
Still, despite all of that, I mean, outside of those opportunities, it is still a fairly chilled out game. You have stacks slowly being built up as well on the side of the Mongolz, of course, with DJ on hand with Koppel. Can build some recovery process. Roshan pump bot though.
This is taking too long. The run buff will be connecting onto Mac, but only after he has taken a decent amount of damage. This Prophet getting in on Q. Think about fighting. Well, he should think again, but because he will go down. It is going to be a 1-for-1, of course. We're only taking down the support. Chains connect. Mac still has the run buff on himself. Bob trying to get himself away with the second round. He'll be doing exactly that. Arcane Rune really coming in handy, and the snipe. DJ gets Mac on the very end there. He started losing HP as the run buff was expiring. Bob needs to be careful. He might need to use the Sleight of Fist onto the creeps in the jungle to survive, and JG getting the Doom off onto the Tidehunter, who is really not having a good time. Will he die? Tick out that Doom. It is gonna get very close, and the final tick finishes him off. He was this close to surviving, but just not enough, and Essence went too deep.
Now they did get punished severely. They have a little bit of
might get punished
compensation,
again.
though.
Akashi, oh, he walked into the ice bath again and doesn't look like he's going to be getting out of this one alive. The heal's coming through. JG is not going to be stopping. He has his second spell still going strong, and Amq from the other side. He's actually thinking about diving. Another kinetic defense will be used, but where are you, Turan? He's going to be using the glimpse onto Ponyo. Onto the Coddle, who really brings in Bob. Cox uses all of his one charges, which is not enough to survive. Bob with the immolation and the flame guard does finish him off as well. Mongolz, they are continuing their onslaught from the previous game.
Now they are. And Essence are dragging everything in to try to reel in that fight down bot, even having Akashi die. Like, this offsets the Nature's Prophet start by a huge amount. And finding these kills on JG, getting online on that Doom, it is concerning. He's going to go into the Midas. He's going to start to get that farm going. He's going to go into Blink BKB. Bob manages to start to build up. Has the Orb of Blight and Orb of Frost. Starting to get into the point where the Orb of Corrosion kicks in. A little bit more damage, a little bit more ways of holding them back. On the side of Essence starts to become a reality here. And for Essence's part, I mean, you need a little bit more farm. Heck, you need a lot more EXP and Cox. Still going into 6. Bobby trying to play poke forward just a little bit, but knows that there's not too much to be concerned about. Getting that connection with the chakra. And you do have that Sleight of Fist spam sort of kick in now as well if you're not too careful here.
There's no Static Storm just yet, and the Disruptor needs still like half a level to get it, so that does allow Bob to be very, very, even overly aggressive here around the mid lane.
Radiant are scared.
Yep. Just farming away, constantly poking, forcing some responses to come in. They get the scan up on top here.
They know where Akashi's at and are just going to be running towards him. You save the ice path for when he starts the TP, and, well, you don't even need to get the damage off. It's going to be more than enough. They bring in Bob with the recall, and instantly he just goes back to the mid lane.
Just back to that shove, back to that steady farm. Start to prevent Ponyo from just getting a free ride into 6. And, you know, just choke out the map. Essence still have some control over some portions of the map, like Triangle is still there for Mac. Trying to work into that Orchid timing now, but it's been a little bit painful. He's going for an TP back X reset. Bobby's not going to be camping him out. He said maybe look for an easier kill if he doesn't quite catch Ponyo, but again, Steege onto mid tier 1. Nice and steady. Fortify forced out early.
Just keeping them at bay. He's not allowing Ponyo to get close to get his level 6, and without a Static Storm, they're just so helpless on Essence. Mac is going in. Ice Path, Macropyre, standing his ground, actually misses there on the Impalement Darts. Wheel of Wonder will get used. Castaway, no way to run away from his Sleight of Fist chains. There's gonna be another one, and Ponyo gone. Just taken out before getting his level 6 Ayat. He already used his ulti, so his level 6 doesn't really matter all that much. There's gonna be a Sleight of Fist fairly soon to finish him off as well. Bob gets himself a double. 2 games in a row, he's slaughtering the supports of Essence.
Yes, you called it out earlier on in the draft. These supports are just so easy to pick off. And this Ember Spirit paying off dividends just with a Phase Boots or Corrosion up. And again, with all of the mana sustain you're getting out with DJ, with a Recall on hand, with a Chakra on hand, I mean, Bob is just able to keep this pace going. No need to stop, no need to TP back home. And just apply that pressure for his team. They're getting steady build-up still on JG and OMQ while that action breaks out on mid. And you're just getting choked out so badly on the side of Essence. It just kind of goes back to a little bit of this Conka pick, and even just the rough laning start for Cox. There's no one really to play around with. Mac is trying. He's trying to get these X's off with a Ghost Ship and the Torrent. Trying to find heroes to trade with, but the damage just isn't there. The hero is a little bit paltry when it comes to trying to burst down and having enough to look for other opportunities elsewhere.
Still hasn't committed for the Orchid, so I'm not sure if he's sure if that's really the item that he wants, but either way, this is what's happening even with the Kunkka having a grand time in the mid lane. Imagine if he got smacked by the Ember. Imagine if Bob got lucky with those chains and actually didn't get unlucky with those chains and got him. Cox, how they want him, he has the Ravage, they want to force it out at least. Ice Path will connect, Macropyre as well, in place. Flopper, coming in handy, he's trying to get himself away. Healing Lotus being used to IMQ, doing his best to force out a Ravage, which is for now not going to be happening. He wants to Kunkka without the boat, that is a big deal, Bob. He's going to be caught there by the kinetic fence and the Storm. We're actually slowed down.
pokes and prods. That is Doom commitment now. That doesn't really connect onto anything with that commitment onto Mac, but it does prevent a wider team fight for Essence to connect. And I would say overall, using up Static Storm is maybe a bit of a bigger deal. Yeah, it's a lower cooldown, but it's a window for Bob to just keep playing this game, where he's going to run forward. He's going to just try to look for some slights. He's going to try to keep connected to DJ for some chakra spam and just look to clean up constantly. They take control in the triangle again. They're shutting out safe areas to farm. For Essence, only Akashi now. Kind of the same story from game 2, where it's only Akashi kind of getting that build-up that you need here. And on something like the Nature's Prophet, I don't think the hard carry condition is as smooth as the Dusa. Kudo, a little bit forward.
It's the Orchid. They want to use it. The MQ. They get X'd up. They're going to be using that Orchid, using the Wonder, and even with his Aghanim Scepter, he's not going to be strong enough, but he gets them all low. Escape back to save the Tide. Sleight of Fist is going to be enough for the kill. Bob now think about going forward. They're bringing in the Doom. The chase is on. They're going to send him away with the Glimpse, but still doing solid enough damage there to Ponyo to finish him off. Fear from Aya. Tame the Beast. You cannot tame Bob, but with the silence, they might just be able to keep him at bay. And also with Akashi going in, Bob, he needs to get the Remnant, which he does not have. Too deep from the Mongolz, and this time around, Essence, they did have a response.
Very big response coming out on that one, considering how far back they were. These kinetic fences cutting off Bob from his angles is kind of saving the day. Like, these plays coming out from Ponyo is stalling out long enough for them to get the response in. That glimpse back in JG, a big one as well, cutting off some additional control, additional body that they need on the side of the Mongols to try to clean up that prolonged extension into behind the tier 2. And also, you're getting some good presence out from Akashi again, as is reminiscent of game 2, number 2 in net worth right now. On that Nature's Prophet, already has the full Mjolnir up as well. So it does have some decent damage to pump out and decent split push now, ready to kick in with maxed out teleportation. You can start to make use of the map much better. Try to scale up into that point where Nature's Prophet is going to be dishing out a ton of output. Going for the Dragon Rounds first. And the first team fight for full safety. Fermenter will be taken once more by the Mongols, so free shard out for DJ is pretty impactful with the charges now up on the recall. And increased healing is never something to scoff at as well. But the side of Essence is starting to clump up here.
Yeah, they want him. No Ravage, and very soon he won't have his life. I don't think this is worthy of a Doom, and just like that, they will be saving it for the next fight. Very nice pick off.
They don't even manage to find anything bot, considering they started to clump up, seeing that commitment top. And they know that there's just not enough with the 2 supports plus a Kunkka just yet. Can't even try to take care of that tier 1 or try to pressure onto OnQ. And again, you just reel it back in for the side of the Mongols. With that Tormentor take, with that kill, lead us back up to 5k, bouncing back into the previous high point. Maybe some opportunities elsewhere. They've slowly chipped away on mid.
Tide net worth. Really shouldn't. Ponyo has been caught. There's kinetic fences. You've been talking about it, but it really isn't going to help. Bristleback pushes him off there with an Aghanim Scepter usage.
The key timings are there for the Mongols. With that Ags up, and they're not going utility, and OnQ playing that true core Bristle. It's just kind of nightmarish. Again, it's all in on Akashi to try to carry this game for you from a very awkward spot. You really need a lot more on the Hawks. At least the Vlad is up, going into the Blink, so you know it's something, but when you're lagging behind DJ again, which is the same story as game 2, mind you, on a different hero now, you know things are not going well. This is
DJ's just getting
really
so much farm.
Ah, dude, it just feels like a copy-paste of game 2 with a few additional kills for Essence. Like, they've got a little bit more than what we initially had in the last game, but it's not smooth sailing yet.
More supports. Whenever they show themselves on the map, they just die on the side of Essence.
And what you can do, at least it's them dying instead of like Mac, instead of Cox dying back to back, instead of Kashi under pressure. They are doing their job, allowing the farm to flow elsewhere. there is that. And at least your tier 2s are still up as well, so you still have some influence on the map to a certain extent on your side of the map at the very least. How long that holds is a different question, however. Kashi again going for that Hurricane Pike first. 4 staff already up. Still a long ways off from Cox having his blink. And just trying to secure a BKB now on good old Mac into the Yags. So, some tools that can still fly out here.
It's gonna be fine. I mean, even there, Mac already used the X on himself, so it's not like they were going for a kill. He rather wanted maybe to force out a rotation or something. Poor Cox, man. If I'm playing a Tide this game, I'm so sad. Like, it's insane how unplayable it is at the moment for him. He's playing versus a Doom. He has no blink. He's underfarmed severely. It's just a rough situation.
As it is. He just needs so much more space. And again, the warding from the Mongols, keeping track of that top jungle, the forward top jungle as well, or the deeper top jungle. Just ensuring that they've always got information on Essence and their whereabouts. As Rosh is being taken. Not going to take too long with all the recalls being spammed out. Spell spam coming in. They are scanning and trying to make their way in.
There's the Torrent. Connects onto the two of them. Balin darts. Here comes the boat as well as the Wheel of Wonder. And JG has his BKB. He can just isolate all of them. Silence onto the Ember. He does have a haste shield, so not really all that afraid. Tumbler's going forward and he dodged the Ravage because of the X. Unreal how lucky Bob got in that fight. The X was just out and then he got close to Cox. Now he's going to be allowed to just go forward. Has the great healing bonus onto the bristleback if he wants to give it for Bob for extra mana, but of course you do have a Coddle to play with. Now looking towards Akashi, he should be lucky to get out of this one alive. Bob, he did spot him, Sleight of Fish chains connecting. Hurricane Pike away, but the chase is on Akashi. Turning around, gets the silence onto the Doom. That's not going to be allowing you to live inside of the Macropyre. He will burn like his trees as well. Now Bob, he wants more Sleight of Fish chains. You don't have the run buff. You don't have anything to keep you alive. Maybe with a TP out, which won't be allowed, of course. Chakra into a Sleight of Fist. We've seen it so many times, refreshing those spells and continuing with the kills.
And they're tearing them apart again on the side of the Mongols. It's good read to try to force in. Unfortunate that Static Storm actually didn't really clip Bob. Managed to find himself a nice spot to still get a Remnant out. Start to cut through the backline before the follow through. And that Static Storm connects. Like, ideally, you're going for a Static Storm into Ravage, but again, Cox without a blink just means that getting into that position feels impossible. It's all back down to how underfarmed you are on a Tide. You don't have that utility, you don't have that connection you want to make with all these spells ready the way you'd want it to be. Because imagine a Static Storm connects with a Blink Ravage. That's a different story. You can maybe connect both onto a wider set of people. You can maybe start to consider what damage Akashi can do from the sidelines there. That's not what happened. And it's all because, again, this laning start for Cox was just pretty awful, to say the least here.
Doesn't look good. Doesn't look good at all for anybody on Essence. I mean, Akashi is farmed, but really, it's so easy to bring him down because he has no defensive items. He's a sitting duck every single time in these fights. I don't know how he's going to be finding an opening to really dish out the damage.
He's going to need something protective on hand. Try to work his way up into BKB. It would be a starting point, but it feels like even with that, I don't know if you being alive on Akashi is enough, because where's the follow through? And who's going to be alive with you to help control, help to deal some damage out? You're way too underfarmed on the Tide to even consider that. Mac could, and he does have his own BKB up. He's trying to go into the axe with a double ghost ship. There's a little bit more utility coming out from there as well. But whether or not that's enough, it certainly doesn't feel like it would be, even if that axe was up, as the smoke comes in here from the Mongols.
Find something. They have to blink BKB Doom on the Doombringer as Bob found, and there's a nice connection. If you can bring it down from 100 to 0, that's going to be huge. Some protection coming out from DJ. Not going to be enough to be out. Gonna get themselves away, but nice side pass. Doom going in. He cannot both, but he can BKB TP out, and that might be enough to survive. Ayad doing his best to escape, using the Taint to beat too much. HG will stop the TP there. They do want this Nature's Prophet to AMQ coming over. They might just be able to get it. Ravage, however, is going to be connecting onto the 4 remaining heroes. However, AMQ is way too strong. And Cox, you are next on the menu. You've killed one, but you cannot deal with the Bristleback.
DJ himself just getting that aggressive relocate or recall on top and doesn't even die. Like, you got caught in the Ravage, you managed to channel out the DNA with a short. Just gets instantly fully healed up inside. And we just get the siege onto the high ground. And what's there to stop this Bristle? There's just no threat from the side of Essence. There's nothing that this country can really do.
The Emperor will be rejoining onto the outpost that was taken earlier by the Mongols. Liv used nice usage there of defense, but I feel like he's okay dying once here. How are you gonna punish him the second time? See, Glimmer, trying to live longer. He's still gonna go down. Nice glimpse. Might be in a bad position. Let's see, Bob coming through. Bob into the backlines, controls the supports, makes sure they cannot use their spells. He does have a BKB. Get this out of the way. Andrew's still standing his ground. Maybe he should reconsider that because they are really breaking his back, which is not an easy thing to do. Nice defense there coming out. Also, Castaway using the macro power, and that should be allowing him to escape like the rest of the Mongols as well.
I mean, they find the big one they'd want. Some good punishment coming out from Essence. That one kill giving them 1.3k gold to celebrate with. And just reel that game back just slightly back their way, but there is a course correction being done here on AMQ, going for the BKB now on that Bristle, and that same set of moves not going to be as go off once that is up and running. Still, they'll try for a smoke play out. Big ultimates are half a minute away. Static Storm is ready. I want to try to get some punishment in, and DJ does break the smoke at least.
Stab, gonna get glimpsed up. That smoke break will he take his life? They use the X and then the glimpse, making a mistake once again. That X not playing into the hands of Essence. Onyo will try to escape, but escape outside of the chase into the backlines. He wants more of Bob. Doesn't have the BKB, so has to be a little bit careful inside of that static storm. Also, the silence to follow. But AG keeping them in place. Chains again onto the two not so good friends of the Tide and the Kumka, as the Doom will get used before he uses his Ravage, so now he's not going to have a chance to do so. You have to finish him off as the run buff will be protecting him a little bit better, but ultimately he will fall. Now Kumka next in the menu, a run buff expiring, his life as well. And that's going to be another awesome fight for Mongols.
Clean up once more. What looked like a freebie that could come out into GJ just again isn't that free. Manages to pop the Spirit Form, gets the recall onto Bob, and everyone else is right on top in the nick of time. And at the least there's Ravage if you respawn. Static Storm, not the longest cooldown as well, so there's some saving graces here on the side of Essence, but not a huge amount. Inside of Mongols again, just cleaning up nicely, 24 to 12, 13k advantage being maintained. The one thing you have going for yourself, again, is this outstanding farm on Akashi. BKB is about to be finished up. So your Nature's Prophet can just kind of hold its ground in these team fights. It is doing a great job of just balancing out the lanes as well, as best as you can hope in this position. And that is a possibility for the game stall. Tormentor up again. Side of the Mongols, but just clear it out nice and fast. Shard heading the way of Bobby. A little bit more coming in with the Immolation and the Fire Remnant recharges as well from kills. And allow Bob to just constantly keep that weaving in and out. Does have the amp damage rune popped in as well into that bottle. Has a minute before he's gonna have to pop it. And I don't know, like when you're looking at the side of Essence, this game just, it feels like a lot of it's relying on Akashi to work his position out. You will eventually hit the blink timing here on Cox. Right, he is about 300 gold away. So you have that for yourself at the very least.
Well, it is a still a very uncomfortable position for Essence to be in. Yeah, sure, they've got the BKB on the Nature's Prophet, but still, I feel like if he's right in the middle of the fight, that the bristleback will just beat him up. That's how it feels at the moment.
Radiant are scanning.
Pretty much. I mean,
But he's working towards the silver edge, right? So that might be the play. Hit him, ravage, and then kill him. Even with the S and Y, you might just be able to.
it is a window. And that should be a window big enough. Akashi, again, he's been doing a great job of farming up, so hitting that point in silver edge shouldn't be too tough. I have to wait and see. Siege onto the tier 2 bot has begun from Alan Q alone. As Mongolz are looking for a smoke play out, trying to find some stragglers at the top.
Fire
Fox
has a
doing a decent
greedy
job.
enchantment. Did you see that? And he wants an Aghanim Scepter. That could be a game changer. Cox. Be out. Is there spells and will actually survive. But Onyo will not be as lucky. Recall it. This time around he doesn't have it to send people away. Even if he did, he's surrounded by 4 heroes.
That he is. I do appreciate going for the greedy enchantment into the Ags. I think that BKB piercing Static Storm is going to be quite nice, or muting Static Storm is going to be big. I'm trying to get some team fights your way. See if this chase down will connect. Slight doesn't quite. But they have found all outer towers now from the side of Essence, so nothing to
Is under attack.
give them further reach. Again, at the very least, you have the Nature's Prophet. Akashi is doing a fine job of cutting creep waves, ensuring that they can kind of keep themselves in this game. Trying to get that scale. Okay, Akashi.
Up, out, Doom used. That's a solid one, but it is still a 9-second BKB charge down the drain. Talk to me, John. How important are charges for a nature spot in this game?
I think in this game you can kind of alright trading down. You just need that window to, if you do get jumped, it's more of a safety net. I think in an ideal fight, you're not going to be targeted down anyway. Like, ideally, you're not going to get fire anyway. So I think it's more of just a bailout situation, which is perfectly fine. The one situation where you might want it aggressive is with that Silver Edge, as they do manage to snipe a pretty good Ags as well. DJ losing access to his Ags is going to be quite nice, so no little Wisp to worry about for a little bit longer. As we will go straight into Roshan now. Roshan with banner. Not going to take too long for Anku with all the spell spam coming in from the Chakra and the Chakra on the decals. Always just a short
Whistle back. Gunka has his Aghanims. As you mentioned, the Aghanims of DJ did die there. Unfortunately, his courier flew over a farming and nature spot. Got it down, no problem. Some big items definitely flying out for there's another Aghanim Scepter this time for Bob, and Amq, he's the one given the Aegis, meaning they probably want to be poking at the high ground a bit.
That they should be. I'm not sure if this Ags on Mac is going to be doing enough. The double boat stuns can be quite nice. So there is that to at least consider. But look at Omq, just doesn't care, forces out the usage on the Orchid, runs down a little bit, frees up that bot lane.
Are scanning.
Again, you are seeing Akashi trying to sneak around a little bit. Does get himself some Lotuses, still a ways off from the little Silver Edge, just lacking a little bit more gold for the recipe. So they will have that break option for Omq at least. And Cox as well, just trying to cut creep waves as best as he can. Should be able to bail himself out here.
Let's see. One of his chains on the Cox is going to protect himself with a cracker shell. Nope.
Fair enough. He did try. You know, at the least he's stalling out again on that Aegis timing. From the side of the Mongols, they're not able to translate directly into an objective just yet. They have to take some time to correct lanes. But it doesn't feel as bad when you've got a Kotl just dragging everyone across the map anyhow. So I think it's somewhat manageable here for the
They're
side of the
everywhere.
Mongols. That they are. Look, just switching on to bot, just like that.
Yep. Now we're top, now we're bottom, now we're top, now we're bottom. You, at some point, your head is gonna start spinning, and you're not gonna know where they're gonna come from.
Yeah. Just kind of nightmarish to try to keep wave control doorway. I mean, bot is still shoved out at the very least, so you do have that going for you here. The Ags for Ponyo is a little 3 parts away, soon to be 2 parts away once he buys out that point booster. Again, it's going to be a nice little item pickup to have that mute on hand. But everything has to connect together. Like, even with these Ags coming in, you have to execute perfectly. You want the Static Storm, you want the Ravage on top, you want to get the double boards going. Easier said than done.
There's the Ravage. Ravage, Will of Wonder. Does look like a very good. No chance to even try to pop his BKB. Nice one.
A decent one to find, but Ravage is a long cooldown to pop for that. And that should boost the confidence for the rest of the Mongols to actually look for a play. And Age is still up for 2.5 minutes here. We've got all of this control coming in. They are still clearing out all of these split pushes coming out. Akashi does have that full silver edge up, so that could be the new threat again for Amchi to have to think twice about. But I don't know, the options here for Essence without the Ravage has to be perfect play. Like, again, you don't have the Axe just yet on Ponyo, so that option isn't quite there as Ponyo.
Very dead one. BKB. Bob is not playing around. His BKB is already dead. Oh, actually, no, that was an 8-second charge. Castaway being targeted by Akashi has an 8-second BKB himself and actually gets the kill. Beautifully done. Sleight of fist chains, not there in time. That was just perfect coming out from the Nature's Prophet.
That it is. 600 gold injection for himself. Again, considering how far behind you are, these support kills do count for a lot. And that does inch him closer towards the full Daedalus now on Akashi. Again, I think in stark contrast to game number 2, it is a little bit more even. Or at least not as out of control as Cox.
Goes back to Ignis Vadas again, and Bob finishes him off. And Mac, you don't want to be there. He does have the BKB, and he has to use it. He wants to run no way to stop the BKB TP out. There is a way to continue chasing for more. Escape back, Dyad. Let's see if you've done it well, or maybe you should have practiced a little bit more. Using the shard there on the Kunkka, pushing them back a bit. Out of his chains, Ignis Vadas, and JG gets another blink towards him to finish him off.
Because they don't have the creep waves to sustain this push, though. And so, glimpse back.
JG. That's being annoying to him, but Ponyo, I think he's gonna be regretting his life choices now. That's twice in a row that he dies. And this time it was most definitely unnecessary.
That it was. Again, they can't take objectives. Akashi's still balancing these lanes as best as he can. And then Mjolnir creep to stall out as much as possible. So you don't have clean angles for the push. Mid is starting to open up a little bit more. But Aegis is expiring on Amq. It does expire now. So you don't manage to have that safety net on the Bristle. And you have to respect the break on the Nature's Prophet at this point. On the side of Essence. Again, this is a lot better than game 2. 30 to 14, 17k lead, I think, at this point. Okay, at this point in the game, last time around, I think it was the same number. Yeah. But it does feel a little bit more playable. Try to catch more.
Just out that one. Uses Tidebringer, Tidal Wave, shoves out the wave. Since are in a smoke, I don't know if they want to use this one for a fight. It is kind of hard to get the right engagement.
You do have the Will-O-Wisp back off. You gotta love how much you can spam the recall and chakra in yourself to get Will-O-Wisp back up very quick. It's really not that big of commitment out from the Mongols. Essence gonna try to smoke out. A little bit of an interesting angle here, taking control top. And just kind of leaving one for the wolves here in Ahyad. Try to get some movement crossing. There's a Tormentor, but I think it's a little bit optimistic to try to sneak that one away at this point. Although you do have the damage again with Akashi, if you so wish. Again, playing very conservatively. This time there are creeps in the high ground, not even bothering to try to siege without the Aegis. Basher is flying in for OnQ. So BKB TP no longer an option at the very least, and that is something that can scale quite nicely, of course, with a Warpath active on Seeing Red. See if they can hunt something down. Mac?
They want the Kunkka. Won't be getting him, however, so he gets himself away. Finally, the Bristleback is buying a Basher, so once you do have that, or the full Abyssal, his BKB TPs are not going to be happening. Ponyo has been found. He's so close to his Aghanim Scepter. Now he's going to be a bit farther away. Very unlikely that he escapes. TP out. Bob, he cannot get close to the side of his chains, and he's out.
What?
Beautiful.
Huh? Why couldn't he attack through that gap? Why didn't he walk into that gap? Maybe not having quite the vision. A little bit surprising, but good juke spot. Does stall out. Doesn't mean he gets to save that 700 gold into that Ags. You mentioned can be a very key piece of the puzzle here for Essence. Tried to reel some team fight their way.
Okay, so you know Bob. Oh, wait a second. Ponyo, he escaped earlier. Now he doesn't have a way to do it. Repulsion pushes the Doom just a slightly bit back. So if Bob had a refresher earlier there, would he have popped it to pop the BKB and kill the Disruptor?
Maybe not. I think he wants to save it for a bigger fight.
There's the break.
Or
Ravage. I'm cute. Goodbye.
Yeah. I don't know what he was expecting with the break on hand. That's their big damage gone, but what's the try? No
They're
Ravage.
gonna be going in. Even if you get up to, you don't push without the Bristleback, really.
Dire's middle tower
No.
is under
You
attack.
don't really have the damage. And again, Cautious just gonna keep stalling this game out, keep split pushing, keep playing with the Treant as much as possible. Not gonna be able to really crack the nut that is the high ground. So, yeah. It's gonna be another one of those long haul games. Ags is fully up on Ponyo. Static
That's a
Storm
big
mute on hand. That's gonna make this even worse for Aonkyo if he's not ready. Because again, he has
Doom
to be
is
very
approaching
cautious.
Wind Waker. Is that a good item to offset the attempts onto the Bristleback's life?
I would say so. Just every single stall you have for every single break is gonna feel pretty damn impactful. Lowers that window of opportunity you have to get that kill. So it just provides that much more value for yourself there. Bob sneaking around with the invis room. What? Watch Ponyo.
The Disruptor, as an axe, doesn't have a buyback. It's really a very nice hero to get, and they do take him out. He is, however, level 14, 40 minutes into the game, so I was looking at this death timer like, what the hell is going on? But pretty much no experience on the guy.
Pretty much. Quick respawn kind of offsets that advantage. And you know what, Harry, I do feel like we're gonna get a little bit of a long haul here, maybe into the.
Really?
It feels like we're gonna encroach into 50-55 for this one, because it's gonna be almost a miracle last game. And we're gonna need to take Roshan at least. I mean, you have some Rosh potential here on Essence to force back that team fight as well. If they are aware, the key thing is just trying to get out of their high ground. We've got Link Pins now to protect on Mac. The durability is starting to kick in a little bit here. There is that Wind Waker you were talking about, though, at the very least, to help save.
Also, I'm not sure, but do you also hate this Aeon disc that AMQ has queued up? I feel like versus a Disruptor Axe, it just does nothing, and you shouldn't even attempt to get. Yeah, he changed it up to an Abyssal thing. Thank God.
Yeah, nah. It has to be. Certainly not the game with Nullifier coming in as well. Smokeout Essence knows that Roshan's going to be the play, but walk away from the pit as Scan finds nothing here as well from the side of the Mongolz with their own smoke. Are they going to be collapsing on each other? Not quite. They do use this time at least to get some vision out. That could be a little bit of a boon, although no one's really touched that Radiant Triangle in a while outside of Akashi.
Akashi approaching his level 25. That's gonna be huge. His split push, whichever talent that he gets, is gonna be much more powerful, and we'll see. We'll see what it's gonna do. I wouldn't mind either. Doom is level 25, so now we got
Little mute on hand It should have kept simplify. The war is signaling, and the re-smokes are there.
Low, nice
Oh.
one break from the Ember going in, pops the BKB. Nice escape back there, will be keep alive. He has the refresher, can go for another BKB if he wants to, but onto the tide. It's gonna be a great one. Disruptor next on the menu will easily be taken out. They're ignoring him for the time being, but Illuminate will finish him off while DJ and Bob, they are looking to get more.
Keep that pressure. Not going to be able to catch anything more, but really great target identification out from JG. Dooming up the tide, removing the Ravage from the picture, which means that your follow-through for Static Storm isn't really there. Your teamfight combination gets taken out. The key issue now for the side of the Mongols is trying to catch out Kashi, because he is the thorn in their butt, right? He's the guy keeping all of these lanes shoved out. He's the guy stalling this game. He's the guy that will potentially make this game reach 50, 55 minutes, considering the advantage you have. The Mongols does not do great. But the NP is sipping up all the farm, stalling out this game. And you've got to find a way to make this high ground. Let's start now with Amq.
The silence off of him, the Orchid has been up for the longest of time. Zamku is trying to go for the Raxes. There is a glyph, which will now get used. Nice save there with the Wind Waker. They didn't nullify him. Maybe should have done it. They don't want to into the back line. Silence as well. They're trying to kill him once without using the Ravage, without using the Static Storm. The heals from the Illuminate, making it very, very hard to do so. Bob going in. Bob's the BKB. Goes into the backlines. The Chase will be connecting. They need to be saved by the Rum. They need to get drunk right now. Banya running himself away. Another slot of fits will kill him off. But Bob doesn't want to continue. He's a little bit low. Finally, they caught him, and he doesn't have a buy. Is this? This is the first time they killed him in like half an hour, and he can't come back.
No. He's only 200 gold away. Someone could try to snipe a couple of bounties that would be easily rectified, but because of that,
How did they leave?
they can't. Even if you nail your combination now, you have no damage. Yeah, it's just going to be Megas, it looks like, at this point.
And then your split push is going to be useless. It seems that Mongolz have broken apart this game, and nice caster is there, John. We're going to be here for a long time. Well, doesn't seem like it.
You know what I was doing there? I did us all a good favor. Going on to those last set of
didn't. We wanted our last game here to last for 70 minutes, but that's my calling today, you know, as escape back, it's going to be saving the Kunka's life. Tidehunter coming back. He did pick up one bounty rune, but it wasn't enough. You needed another one for this Nature's Prophet to be able to buy back. Damage being used, they wanted to do Wonder as well.
What's the damage?
How is he so tanky without Akashi? They don't do any damage. He gets the BKB off, and the Doom is going to be fine. In a couple of seconds, he's going to have one Doom, but he's going to have two if he wants. He's up in the air. Doesn't even need to use a single one there, just for good measure. Onto the tide, Mongolz. One game away from qualifying to DreamLeague Season 26. This is amazing coming up from them.
That it is. Like, that was just absolutely soul-crushing.